Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pylon Show, episode 140. I know we're a little bit later than we are supposed to do it on a Wednesday. We apologize for that, but you guys shouldn't be upset at us. Be upset at the guys from Asus Rog. They had the audacity to plan a qualifier in the middle of our Pylon Show. And of course, we could have done it at 11 a.m. again, but then I would have had another full Pylon Show with 3 Europeans. And at one point, enough Europeans is enough. America, I got the ego on my side. I wanted an American lineup, and I think this is going to be a very fun Pylon show. We're obviously going to talk about esports, but we're also going to talk about everything else. Basically, how we're going to keep StarCraft fun for ourselves, how are these guys doing it as a streamer, etc. We don't have a main topic because Blizzard never gives us any updates, and if there are no updates, there is no new topic. And before I introduce the guest, I do want to give you guys a quick heads up. Next week, there is no Pylon show. That's not because Cobra is lazy. That's not because I'm lazy. But the DreamHack Season Masters Fall take place in Stockholm. And instead of a 4-day event, it became a 6-day event. And obviously, if I'm there, it's going to be very hard for me to run a Pylon show. So we're just going to skip next week, and then we'll be back the week afterwards. That's going to be a bit tricky for me as well, because I'll still be in Sweden. But I digress. Let's go ahead and introduce our 3 lovely, amazing guests. And I'm so happy that I have you guys on to talk about the things that I want to talk about today. Because we had like a little 10-minute pre-show talk, and it was already good. Let's kick things off with Neuro. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are we doing, Neuro?
Good morning. I'm balancing the scales of fate when the Europeans used to have to stay up super late or wake up super early for Pylon show. Now it's my turn to sleep for a lot less and wake up early for some good conversation. I have coffee though, and I love this crew, so we're gonna kick ass today.
I want to say 9 a.m., but I guess it's 8 a.m. on the West Coast, right?
No.
It's 11 now, but
Oh, that's not that early at all.
I'm awake at DJ hours, man. I'm awake until like 5 a.m. and then I wake up at 1 p.m.
All right. Well, we appreciate you waking up a little bit earlier than you normally wake up. Next up, the man in the bunker, UpATree, the Grubby Slayer. How are we doing, Sal?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty good. I've had a productive morning. I got coffee and made some food and chilled and waited for the Pylon show. It was good stuff, man. It's good stuff.
Before we dive into anything else, what is the latest little tech rivalry that you have with Juggernaut Jason? Where did you one up in? Because I know there is something.
Actually, he one upped me recently. So there's this mic arm that Elgato makes. It's like super low profile, and in order to get it into Canada, you pay your $120 like Canadian, and then you have to pay tax, and then you have to pay import duties as well. And I was like, I will not pay, like, as a matter of principle, I will not pay $200 for a $120 mic arm. And Jason said, fuck you, and he ordered it. So he has the mic arm, and I'm waiting patiently for Amazon.ca to stock it.
Okay, now I've got another question for you immediately, and I'm sure that you know the answer to this, because I have been trying to figure this out, and I even Googled it. So this is not a stupid thing I could have Googled.
We've made progress.
But I couldn't get it. Joe Rogan has new microphone arms, because he used to have like it was on Frameworks. I think he used to have. Now he's got a new fancy red one, and they actually look pretty dope. And I wonder if you know what kind of model he's using.
Actually, I don't. I saw the red, but I'm not actually sure what the make and model is. But yeah, he was using the Gator Frameworks, the high end one that has like the light built in and shit, I think, as well. But I actually don't know. I need to look that up, because like those are like $500 a pop. I think he was using the yellow text, wasn't he? Not the Gator Frameworks.
I think it said Frameworks in the past, but I gotta say that new fancy red one, it looks actually pretty dope.
Yeah,
and I'm like, next time I speak to Sal, I'm gonna ask him, because you may as well, right? To stay competitive in the streaming business versus Sal and Juggernaut Jason, you need to open the wallet. It's just the way it is. Speaking of, let's go ahead and introduce our final amazing guest of today. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. How is life in good old America?
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's been some really nice weather on the East Coast, actually. It's like just the perfect weather outside. You know, it's not too hot, not too cold. So I've been enjoying some nice, outside air. It's 2 p.m. I've been awake, so, I guess the Pylon show accommodated for me. Can't complain about that.
Have the streams been pleasant lately, or have people been whining about the easy tools you're using all the time?
They've been all right. It's because I do so much of everything now. I do a lot of off race and a lot of main race. So, yeah, I mean, they come and they go, the streams. They're good and they're bad.
All right. Well, I can't wait to talk to you guys about streaming and the life that comes with it. But first up, we're going to take a look at the world of esports because even though Blizzard may not be giving us community updates, and we can talk about days of stuff that we want to see change, but we all know that that ain't really
Yeah.
happening anytime
Real
soon.
quick,
Yeah?
I found it. It's the Ultima. It's the ProVoom Ultima Gen 2 ultra low profile mic arm. I'll link it in the thing. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Now I have to ask the Conor McGregor question. How much?
Actually, 379. It looks like. So
Hello.
not as bad as I would have thought.
September
Yeah.
is on, guys. I
That's
believe
glad-
But is it as low profile as the mic arm that MCanning is using?
That's true. You can't even see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I won't make fun of you for the mic today. Okay,
Alright.
it's low
You can come
hanging
after me.
fruit.
You can come after me. I don't care.
Don't do that. I could have a whole Pylon show making fun of you. It's not gonna-
All right,
That's
guys. Well,
okay.
what we're not going to make fun of are the amazing performances we've had in the world of esports. Because, like I said, even though Blizzard may not be giving us a whole lot of new stuff that we could talk about and dream about for days or debate over, the StarCraft 2 esports scene is more competitive and active than it's ever been. It feels like there is this esports around the clock. We've had a very busy week. Of course, we had week leagues. Then we had a new Rotti and Rotti tournament number 2. Those are very unique. Of course, the GSL code has officially kicked off. ASL is going on as well. I don't know anything about Brood War. I apologize about that, but I know it's happening. And then last but not least, Asus ROG Online is taking place 2 weeks from now. Last year, and I'm not saying this because I was there, that really was one of the sickest tournaments all year long, mostly because of the games, man. We just had absolutely unbelievable games. People still talk about Beyond against Serral. Beyond is not going to be there, but we'll talk about that soon. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the weekly Cobra, shall we? Let's kick things off with the Korean weekly. And let's take a look at how many protesters we've had, how many signups did we have, and who managed to win it all. Because I'll be honest, I don't think I even know. This was the ESL Cup Korea number 86, created 3-1 special. I actually had a question. Good job, by the way, by Juanito making it to the final. Chris, you play so much Korean ladder. Why do you
Yeah.
never play in the Korean weekly?
Depends. But now they move Korea to like it's like Saturday at 10 p.m. for me. It's like sometimes the timing just doesn't work out as much as it used to. And also, what happens is, like when I play Korea ladder, I pretty much always play. Any server has multiple servers except Europe, I guess. Europe has just Europe, but it's Korea and Taiwan. And most of the guys here want to play Korea, and Korea is like quite a bit laggier than Taiwan, so it's kind of pain. Like I'll play Zest, and I'll be like, "Do you think we can do Taiwan?" And like half the time you'll say yes, half the time you'll say no. Like I'll just have like 310 ping to Korea. Just I don't know. It's almost too much.
What's your ping to Taiwan?
It's like 220, something like that. So it's better. Still,
I mean,
a lot,
I
but it's
understand it. If I can get a little ping advantage versus the can, I do.
better. Yeah, true. So like some of them, usually they're like whatever. Like usually if I play Zest, he'll be like, sometimes he'll say yes, sometimes he'll say no, and he'll always like 3-gate me or something fast. I'll just lose.
Yeah,
Like,
he
he's
did that to
cheesing
me too. I was so excited to play him once. I was like, this is going to be awesome. And I got 3-gated and 4-gated. I'm like, man, the disrespect.
Yeah,
and I knew it was coming and still couldn't stop it. Like, damn you, Zest. I actually, while you bring this up, I had something else that just jumped to mind. It's a fun little side story. Neep has to be the nicest guy on this planet when it comes to letting people pick servers. Because even if there's an American server qualifier and it's flooded by European players, Neep will just always be like, oh yeah, you want to play on Europe? That's fine. We can play on Europe.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, the one time that I meet Neep in one of these online tournaments, I'm like, hey Neep, you mind playing on Europe? And he said, yeah, I kind of do. Let's just stay on NA. And I'm like, what? You let Mana and Showtime and Clem all play on Europe, but you forced NA against me? I was pissed, man.
That is
that's
good.
funny.
I can't believe that happened. Actually, that's crazy.
Yeah, me neither. That's like the most random thing, especially when I just see him give Euros to all the top guys that actually, the ping advantage would matter. Anyway, let's go back to the Korean Weekly real quick. Obviously, great job by Juanito making it to the final. Seems like he had a banger of a series against Haas, 3-2. I'm sure Pig has already uploaded that to YouTube. Did any of you guys catch any of the games in this tournament?
No, but I'm pretty impressed with creators run beating Zest, Thermal, MaxPax 3-0 even.
Mm-hmm.
And he won the whole thing. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Holy
I
hell.
mean, maybe creator of 2011 is back after all.
The guy never leaves, so you gotta respect that.
Yeah, I mean, also nice by MaxPax too to just make it to the semifinal. Top 8 gets paid in this tournament, so he picks up, I think, $100 for making it to the semis. I mean, if there's nothing else happening on his Saturday morning or whatever unholy hour it's being played for him, money is money. Bly is trying to. More and more Europeans are actually now to look at it.
Yeah.
I feel like the tables have turned. Skillas is in the mix there. He made it to a quarterfinal. Thank you very much for the $50. Like Skillas against Special in the Korean Weekly. That's so random in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
All right. And Trigger as well, by the way, are feisty.
Here's an
up and
oddball
down.
question, not to stay on this forever.
Mhm.
But I was thinking, if you lived in the very right corner of Russia, you'd still have to play in the European tournaments, wouldn't you?
Yep.
Even if you're
You mean
technically
if you
in
live
Asia?
in like Vladivostok.
I mean, sure. I don't know. I don't know what's on the right side of Russia, but
Yeah, Vladivostok.
I mean, you'd have good ping to Korea. Like, I don't know where Skillis lives, but like,
He does
It's
not
tough.
live in Vladivostok. I know. Now you bring this up. In my Warcraft 3 times, I mean, we have random stories all night, guys, because I've got stories for days. There was actually, like, our tournaments were not that big, of course, in, like, 2004, 2005, 2006. It was really hard to win a couple $100. And I kid you not, there was a Russian Warcraft 3 player that lived in Vladivostok. And to participate in this Warcraft 3 tournament in Moscow, where the total prize pool was, like, 1,500, the guy was on a train for 4 days, okay? He was on a
Oh.
4-day train from Vladivostok to Moscow. If you talk about passion, that is passion, man.
That's
He
not
didn't
good.
win, by the way. But all right, well, congratulations to Creator for picking up those 10 EPT points, and of course the $250 that comes along. Seemed like there was a reasonable amount of big names this week, Cure, Hero, and all that stuff. Next up, we've got a European Pro Tour Weekly, and this time it did not happen on a Monday, as they even had a little graphic of my tweet. It was a little bit weird. The TLDR of everything that happened on the Monday, guys, is that King Cobra and a few others could not connect to the European Battle.net server at first. And I was like, okay, if it's really bad, I understand that we're postponing it. I look at the chat channel, everyone is there. Clem, Showtime, Mana, Euthermal, Lambo, like everyone is ready to go. And then the admin is like, yeah, we're going to postpone. And I'm like, what? This is so random. So I just whisper Wadi, I'm like, hey mate, you want to, because I always have Monday night StarCraft 2 action casting. It's a tradition at this point. I'm like, yo mate, let's put up over $100. Let's just run a tournament. And we add 50% of the donations to the prize pool. And he's like, yeah, okay, sounds like a plan. Kid you not, just the craziest dono trains happen. Over 1,000 euros on my stream, over 1,500 on Wadi. So we actually ran a really big tournament. Grand total prize pool like $2,700, casually made up on the Monday night. And that's kind of the stuff I want to talk to you guys about later as well. But yeah, that was awesome. But we did, of course, still have a European Pro Tour Weekly. And that happened on the Tuesday. I did not cast it because Tuesdays are busy for me, because I have poker obligations on the Tuesday. What I do know is that Big Gabe has made the Big Gabe Weekly once more. Chris, I do believe that you watch a couple of the games of the European Pro Tour Weekly every now and then.
I do. Yeah, I didn't watch that finals exactly, but I do watch I watch quite a bit.
All right. So, Cobra, if we can take a look at the European bracket, that'd be awesome. I know Gabe beat Clem in the final, beat Zest in a nail-biter in the semifinals, 3-2. I don't know how... Gabe always struggles with Zest. I mean, I know Zest is a beast, but it's actually a bit fascinating to me because you see him do so well against a MaxPax, a Showtime, a Neep, but then even Zest with 250 ping, it just seems like a real hurdle to beat for Gabe.
Yeah.
That's just fierce.
He is. High ping, low ping, doesn't matter. Can we take a look at the bracket real quick, Cobra? That'd be awesome. Then maybe
Working
the
on
boys.
it. 1 sec.
Okay, it's coming up. Maybe the boys have something to talk about. I mean, we do know that MaxPax made it to the semifinal too, and that was actually the final of our Wadi and Rotti improv tournament on the Monday night. MaxPax Clem grand final. Everything about the tournament was awesome besides the grand final, because Clem is too damn good. SaL, as a Terran player, and you're struggling against those 5k A-movie Protoses that just spam Zealots all day, and then you look at Clem just slaughtering Protos left and right. Like, what do you make of it?
You know what? I don't have as bad a time with Protoss. Like, the only thing I die a lot to is the voids, because I haven't quite figured out like where to put the missile turrets and shit. And it seems like every time I like put a missile turret somewhere, like it just is wrong. And like I'm trying to figure that out. So there's like this whole dynamic with me and Protoss. But in the later games, like I don't do too badly. Right now it's TVT. Like I struggle with TVT for some reason. It's always one of them. Like you'll go like, okay, so like, oh man, I'm losing TVP, so I'll just watch like a ton of Gabe streams, and I'm like, okay, I got my TVP sorted out, and then it's replaced with another problem matchup like right away. Like your other matchups just take a dive bomb. So I don't really find that it's like that bad, but I feel like Clem's TVZ is his best, and his TVP is really good. But I think Gabe's TVP is insane, like more than Clem's. It's very rock solid. Like he gets like beaten sometimes. Sometimes he makes Protosses look really bad, dude. And the reason's very simple. Like you tune into a cheeky Hero Marine stream, and you'll watch him for 3 hours, and he'll play like one Zerg, and like he'll play like 50 Protosses, and so he gets a lot. I think he gets a lot of practice, like bopping on Protosses. So yeah, I don't really have a problem with I don't really have a problem with Protoss too much. It's just the Void Rays. They get me. Like, and I'm not even mad because like I always know it's my mistake. Like I put something where I shouldn't have. It's sometimes I get really frustrated, but like it's not like I'm not like super tilted per se.
Did you watch when the Muslim participated in the European Pro Tour Weekly?
Oh, I saw the tweets, but no, I'm usually live like when that goes on. So like
I saw those games.
Oh, I saw the tweets, and I didn't have the heart to watch the games because like I knew like sometimes it's like really good as a Terran to just like for your mental health and for your state of balance winding in your head to just not watch this shit because you like know exactly what you're gonna find.
Chris, you say you saw it, so you can talk a little bit about it. But what I thought was kind of funny is that Skillis in the first game does the Void Ray all in, and Ben just kind of defends it. And Ben is like all fired up on his stream. He's like, "Yeah, what do you think? I play Protoss all day. I know how to stop this. I get cheese 24/7." And then the next 2 games it happens, and I've never seen a mood go from this to like, like I'm just so sad and frustrated, team.
That's the first rule. Never talk shit about proxy Void Rays, man. Like, never talk shit. It always comes back. Yeah,
that was amazing. It's funny because I was actually, because the Muslim, you know, he's a very big Terran propaganda pusher, and so I was kind of actually rooting for him to beat Skillis because, you know, everyone's like, oh, you can't beat good Protossers, or Protossers always beat, you know, players higher than them. So I was like, okay, if he beats Skillis, you know, there's my Terran agenda coming through, you know, a low-rated Terran beating a high-level Protoss. The way Skillis won was pretty funny.
Did it make you consider building Void Rays?
Honestly, I almost never Void Ray rush. I don't know why. I really should.
Oh, it's because you have pride and honor.
Speaking of Skillis, did anyone see he uploaded a video on his YouTube where he's just drinking tea and watching Rough stream for 30 minutes? Nothing else is going on. It's like a webcam like right behind him, and it just Skillis sitting down like this watching a Rough stream for 30 minutes. It's got like 4,000 views. That Russian community.
No.
Yeah. I don't know why he did it, but it's hilarious. It was hilarious when I saw that. Oh my God.
That is great. All right, here we have the bracket. Guys, if there is any player, Neuro, do you ever watch for some Zerg inspiration? I know we don't have too many Zergies in the Euros, but some Lambo or a laser maybe?
Yeah, Lambo is kind of like my senpai in terms of if I'm wanting to work on my matchups, he does some of the most polished and clean guides. So my ZVT opener is from Lambo videos and things like that. A lot of the ZVP stuff that I've been studying is also Lambo. So if any Zergs are out there and you want to really take your skill level up to the next and see some really polished timings and good explanations for them, check out his YouTube channel. It's one of the best.
And that speech gets followed by Lambo losing 2-1 to Cass. And that's obviously that's not something that's totally supposed to happen, but it's an online tournament, and we all have our good days and our bad days. Are you guys used
real
to...
quick, though, don't you feel like... Listen, like, I've watched StarCraft 2 a long time, and I'm used to Koss just not... Like, he just doesn't perform. Like, he plays well, but never... I feel like he's winning these days. Am I crazy? Like, I see him winning more in the last like 6 months than I've ever seen him win consistently. Like,
well, that's still the key word. I think consistently. Cass lately has had a couple of crazy upset victories where like now he beats Lambo. I saw him take out Showtime. I know that he even took out Gabe a little while ago. Like Cass, or at least he had a couple of big victories, but he never gets 3 or 4 of them in a row. He gets like, wow, Cass beat Showtime, and then he loses to Christianer in the following round, you know, and then it kind of
it's the tools, man. Don't worry about it.
I mean, if you talk about grinders, man, Cass legitimately since day one. I think there was maybe one time in like 2016, 2017 where he was gone for a little bit.
Yeah.
That man has been at it for the last 11 years. Truly remarkable. Just like Gabe winning another European Pro Tour Weekly. Gabe is a beast. Congratulations. I believe that was victory number 34 or 35. You know what's really funny, by the way, guys, is that Gabe was actually not going to play on the Monday night because he was literally moving his computer that night. And then somehow the weekly doesn't happen, gets pushed to Tuesday. Gabe can play again, and Gabe wins it. I mean,
That is funny.
Dude,
That's
Gabe's
good.
the funniest. So, like, I'll watch his stream and I'll see him complaining about being tired in like the first 2 rounds of like the European tour, and he's like, I don't know, like I don't think I'm gonna play. I think we're gonna die. And then he wins the Europe. He's like, oh, I don't know if I should play NA. I'm tired. I have blah 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 tomorrow. I had this long. Okay, fine. I'll play. I'm probably gonna lose to blah blah blah. Wins the NA. He's like, oh wow, look at that! I can't believe it. It's such a fucking surprise.
Yeah, it's the same every
This
week.
guy.
I mean, I've said this before. I love watching Gabe stream when he wins because it's like, oh yeah, I mean, I actually we did quite well. It's so unexpected. But there is no better content than Gabe losing. Like
Oh,
if
yeah.
Gabe losing, there is so many beautiful stuff. Like, oh, that shouldn't happen. I mean, oh, yeah, there is just no potential in his play. I mean, we both play bad, but at least I see potential myself. What he does, he will just never get better. And then someone in the chat is like, yeah, but what he did worked, so it was good, right? Yeah, that's what makes it extra painful that it did work. That's like, I live for
This
this
shouldn't be
content.
a thing is a classic. That's a classic Gabe line. This shouldn't work, but I guess it does.
But yeah, it's okay to make fun of the champ because all he does is just win and non-stop.
Oh, yeah.
Another one in the books. And that obviously means we had an NA weekly as well a little bit later. I don't know what happened in that one, but we're going to take a look at it all together. Seems
Didn't
like we
Gabe
had a nice
win?
all-Korean final. And if you guys
Oh, did it?
participated
No.
in this week's NA weekly,
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I did. I played.
who did you
I
I
play?
usually play in them.
Did I play this week? Who did I play? I think I got a bye first round,
Mm-hmm.
and then did I play the EU one because it was off? I don't know if I'm
Well,
on there.
NA's was still on.
I
and
played the
NA's
EU
was still
Cup
Monday.
this time. Oh yeah. I think I played them both, didn't I? Yeah, I got Spirit or like was Soul in the EU one, but then I don't remember if I played NA. I feel like I did.
You guys know, by the way, I don't know if this is a true story or not, but they asked him why he changed his name. And he said he has lost to too many Protoses, so the soul has left his body.
Oh, no.
Spirit.
Who told you that?
I think it's Marine Lord, so I don't know if I can trust him. But
No.
Holy shit! Marine Lord has some of the best like Protoss balance wine I've ever seen. He keeps it fresh. Like I've heard every variation of balance wine, but the complaining about easier tools when there's one Protoss in the round of 8, it's just such a
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
It wasn't meant to be become as big of a meme as it has, but now it's just like, the biggest meme right now. The tools, everyone's tools.
And before it sounds like I'm giving Marine Lord shit. I want him to know I joined the Easy Tools clan this week. Okay, so 100%, I'm with you, buddy. And some Protoss flamed me so hard. He told me he was gonna beat the shit out of me and like win this game, and then he died. And he's like, see, Terran's easy, and he left. Oh my god, it was perfect.
I had an insane moment last week. I don't know, or last night. We'll talk about it later, actually, because we're gonna cover that too. I'll save the story. Shout out to MaxPax, by the way. That kid, man, just plays all 3 weeklies, has deep runs in all 3 of them. This is like his weekly allowance at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's not forget that he also made it to the final of the Rotti and Wardy Cup, where he got like 400 euros for taking 2nd place.
Yeah.
Like that kid has just scooped up like $700-800 by playing a couple of online tournaments from Monday to Tuesday. I mean,
He's
that's a
got
lot.
to be the hardest working Europe pro right now, I feel like. I mean, I don't know everyone, but he's literally playing everything, and he's playing all the time.
Mhm.
Like, you got to respect that, no doubt.
You know what's
Yeah.
insane as well is like try to reach MaxPax if he's not on Battle.net, guys.
I saw. Was that your tweet? I saw some. I think it was your tweet. You said something like that.
Wouldn't that
I
be
did
the
see-
most consistent way to reach him? Because he's like always on.
Yes, exactly. But then if you really need him for his PayPal address and he's not there, you're in
Does
trouble.
he have like a Discord? Or, like, does he have anything else? No.
I mean, rumor has it, Wadi says he has him on Discord, but I don't believe it. I've never seen him on Discord. I've never seen him on Twitter. I've never seen him on Facebook or Instagram. That kid is off the grid, man.
I kind of like how he didn't put a webcam on for the Europe stuff, though. Keeps the
The
I don't know.
mystique.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something's kind of fun about it. Like, I remember, I mean, you guys probably remember Hitman back in the day,
Oh yeah.
where like he was just this unknown entity for a long time, but he was always rank 1. You know, he was always rank 1 on NA. And then he finally shows up to an event. You're like, this guy's real, you know?
Yeah.
You just have nobody sees what he looks like, you know? It's kinda
My
funny.
favorite part about him showing up to LAN, do you remember? He was using a this
Yeah.
is before wireless was any good. He was using like a wireless membrane keyboard and
Yeah.
like a terrible, terrible mouse and like no mouse pad.
Yeah, I remember that
And I
because
was
he
like,
made
this proves that you don't need good shit at all.
Easy tools. He beat
Yeah.
Laser at that
Yeah,
event.
he
Actually, I
made it-
remember like
Yeah.
the tiny Asian kid that nobody knew how he looked. He shows up and it was like, well, we don't really know. He has the most random gear of all time, and he cannon rushes
Yeah.
Laser and beats him.
like, he made a laser cry, and then like he made it to the next round, but then him and just no showed to the next round in Poland.
Then he said he had something to do, and
And
then
he
went
just
for school, and he was just like,
and just
nope.
never did any other tournament.
Yeah.
That was it.
He's really good in
Apparently-
Warcraft right now. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah, I
Wait,
did
is
know
he?
that actually.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. He's like basically the best NA player, and he wins almost every NA tournament besides Katowice. He just lost to Crunchy this one time, but he normally beats that guy like the Protoss player, by the way,
Yeah.
the one that made the famous Idra rage quit in his smiley face.
Yeah, the elevator story.
so-
I remember that.
Yeah, those two are the best NA Warcraft 3 players, but
That's
Hitman is
insane.
apparently really good. So that's
Yeah.
kind of funny. Anyway, congrats to Zest, of course, for winning the American Pro Tour Weekly, picking up some EPT points, picking up some dollars. Zest is also a grinder, by the way. Zest and MaxPax. We should put them together in a house, guys. The Big Brother equivalent of StarCraft 2, and just watch them play games all night long. I think it'd be great entertainment.
I just always can root for someone who's putting in the hours and putting in a lot of games. And those guys play everything. It's actually insane.
Yeah, like
Backseating
you
in
get-
general is pretty funny content when you have multiple people who all play the same race and they're all kind of giving
Yeah.
their take on the situation and how you should play it out.
Mhm. Especially if their playstyles are very different, right? It's amazing to be a fly on the wall when Laser and Raynor are talking about Zerg because they see the races like very, very differently. It's actually amazing to listen to that. Anyway, that was it for the European Pro Tour Weeklies. Let's move on and touch on the GSL. Sal, I know that you've got a cool little setup, whereas a real dead gamer, you leans back in your
Oh
chair.
my god!
I saw those pictures.
Oh no!
Yeah,
That's
talk to
like
us.
what about what about this or like just about, my
About the
setup?
streams and your setup and
Oh
how
my
you
God.
like to consume your GSL content.
Yeah, I actually haven't used it since, and I'm trying to get like a lens that like zooms in a bit more because it's just like the most unflattering like camera position of all time. It's a super wide angle lens. I'm just sort of like lounging because it's in that chair over there in the nice like cheeky laid back recliner. That image. There was a thread in my Discord where they took me out of the chair and put me in all these like famous locations. Like they had me, you know the famous, like I think it's in New York, they're like building the Empire State Building where all the dudes are sitting on the girder.
Yeah.
They're like hanging, they just put me on the end with everybody.
That is
It was
good.
like they had so many, like every day to keep the thread alive, someone would post like one more image of me
All right.
seated.
I have a challenge for you then. As soon as Neuro or MCanning is going to talk about the GSL games, give Cobra a couple of those images so we can take a look at them because I haven't seen
I'd
them.
rather
love to
not.
see it.
That's like
Come on. For
it
the
was
fans.
it was really funny. Like I actually like spit the water out of my mouth and I would like saw it on Reddit because I laughed really hard. But yeah, I still don't know which one of these Twitch chatters did it in the first place. I'm not sure. But
All right,
yeah,
Chris.
I think I only caught the Dream Games. Like I haven't really caught too much GSL so far.
Let's
I
start
watched-
with Group A. Let's start with Group A, and then
Okay.
we'll over to Group B. Zest and Trap advanced from Group A over Keen and Special. I don't think anyone is too surprised by those results. Chris, that's a PVT group. Did you watch the games? Anything you want to say about it?
Didn't watch them, but I mean, looks like they were close. Well, actually, the PVTs weren't that close. Well, Keen took one game. That's something.
Can
I
we
don't
give
like
a quick
to,
shout
I don't
out
like
to
to watch.
the hair, makeup, and photography people this season? Like every season, they have some aesthetic of what their outfits are like and making them look like really handsome and amazing and stuff. This
Mhm.
season looks good. I think last season it was like some captain theme. Looked a little bit
Yeah.
cheesy.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is like
I
the
still
Great
like-
Gatsby kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or-
Yeah.
So I don't like to watch one lose. Like, so I fast forward to the end, and if I don't see Juan there, I don't like to watch him lose. I like Juan too much, so it's like I hate to watch him lose. I didn't watch this group. And if the Terrans don't win, like I generally don't watch because I'm like
I feel like I need to get into the GSL just so I can have a new Tinder picture. I mean, look at these guys.
Yeah.
Look at Zest here. It's like why am I even in the scene? I mean, look at this guy.
Does this guy really need a new Tinder picture? Come on now.
I mean, even look at Key. Like, they all look like Chads here. I'm like, Jesus Christ,
Dude, yeah,
It's
Juan looks
impressive.
fucking good, man.
Yeah, he does.
He's looking
I mean,
pretty
Trap
good.
too. Trap
Yeah.
looks like he's coming from a rich, very very rich family. It's like, if you want to own half of Soul, marry me, honey.
It's like he's about to buy my computer or something. Jesus.
You get them to all go golfing in these outfits.
Mm-hmm. Could totally see that too. All right, so excuse me, Neuro, you want to say something about the games, Group B? Maybe?
Oh, Solar versus Maru I watched,
Okay.
which is
How
pretty
was it?
cool. The matchup is really amazing right now. I think a lot of the traditions of ZVT have been gradually changing, moving into kind of late Legacy of the Void. I got to see some of this with me playing against Sal in a streamer invitational we played in, where Terrans are more comfortable now just taking it into the late game. A lot of the previous ZVT play was Terran is just throwing units at you consistently and trading them out on offense. And basically, they're all dying and they hit these upgrade timings. The units get traded out and they're trying to kill you with the 1-1, the 2-2, and the 3-3. Whereas Maru, he's very comfortable to just put on some biomine pressure. He's super active on the map, but he's putting on the pressure, but he's very comfortable getting into the ghost late game and that kind of thing. So I think a lot of Terrans are seeing more and more the power of the ghost and getting into these really crazy late game scenarios. Solar played quite well. He didn't end up winning his series, but 2000 Atmospheres, they had an amazing game that was like 30 minutes long or something, where they have these huge late game armies, massive engagements, like 20 brood lords, a whole bunch of lurkers. It's really awesome, StarCraft. And during that series, I think it was Tastosis, they were saying that, man, StarCraft 2, we haven't had an update in a really long time, but the game's holding up. Like, these are really awesome, entertaining matches. And that, I think, is the point that we should have as our core as a community, is what holds up StarCraft now is us. It's the people who watch, the people who play, the people who cast. Like, that's what keeps the scene alive. And the games are amazing. So
I absolutely agree. I mean, I understand that if you watch 12 PVZs in a row and it's always double Stargate, that people are like, this is not fun. But if there is a nice mix between strategies, and there still is, and a lot of players have their own styles. I didn't see those games in particular. I don't know what I had to do on the 2nd of September, but I'm going to assume it was something important because it is a feisty looking group on paper. And I'm actually a bit surprised to see Solar go out in the bottom. I mean, Maru at top, okay. We know that if Maru has a good day, he can be on top of literally any group. Doesn't matter who you put in there. But to see Solar at the bottom, even below SOS, that one surprised me a little bit. Chris, did you see those games, perhaps?
I didn't watch this GSL either, no. But I mean, the result doesn't really surprise me in this group.
yeah, better tools.
I think Dream is like, I don't know. He's like Dream and Bunny, they're not that. I mean, Maru's obviously great, but Dream and Bunny are really good. Like, Dream is really good, so it doesn't really surprise me.
So, you did your viewing party. We just joked about it, right? Because the angle was indeed amazing. But do you like doing that kind of stuff? Where you're like, you know what? I want to watch the GSL, but obviously sitting here behind my computer, not working for 3 or 4 hours, a little bit hard to justify. So you kind of combine your job while watching the GSL. Is this something that you enjoy? Are you going to do it more often? Because I know a lot of the Euro boys do it, right? Harstem, Lambo, they're always on.
Yeah. So like the GSL isn't what I did it for last time. Like that image came from watching the ESL because it was running like it starts at 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. and then like I start streaming at 11 a.m. So and the thing is that listen, Terran viewers, man, like they're very religiously Terran viewers. If there are no Terrans in the ESL, I'm good. I can stream. I have my regular viewership. Like I don't give a shit. But if there is a good Terran in the EPT, I'm screwed. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna just watch too. Like there's no point. Like, you know, I need to learn, and no one's here, so I might as well just see what's up. So that's where that came from. Like I watched a bit of GSL with Harstem. Like I was just chilling and I was on call with him, and that's where I saw the Dream games, which were pretty good. I think. But yeah, like I'll do that. Like during the ESL season, I'll do that. Like I'll watch like if there's basically any Terran top 8. Like if there are if there's a Terran like top 8 or something, like I'll want to see what's up. Especially since I've been working on getting better at the game.
Have you ever done a stream like that, Neuro, where you just kind of you're like, all right, I'm not allowed to show these games, but I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna be talking about what I see to my community?
Yeah, the watch party stuff is pretty fun. Just banter in a call with someone else. I haven't done it
Right.
that often. The GSL for me is at like 3 to 4 a.m. So usually I'll watch that after my stream, and I'm kind of winding down for the evening. It's a pretty nice cool down.
Chris, it feels like you could turn these kinds of watch parties into something very fun, but I don't think you ever do it, right?
No, I used to do the GSL watch parties quite a bit actually. When Protoss, I have like Juanito on and stuff as well back in the
Yeah.
day. I haven't done it in a while though, but I definitely was doing it a while. I've been off my GSL game since I moved to YouTube. Although sometimes I still watch. It's been more sporadic for me. But no, yeah, the watch parties can be a lot of fun. I think it's a good idea. It is kind of.
yeah.
I used to, you zoom in random pieces of the game. At least I do. Who knows what you can get away with?
I had a solid setup for that. I had a really good setup for that. I had
Yeah.
a setup that's like you need 2 cameras to pop. So what I had was like I'd have on one like half of the screen, I had this camera, and then I had the focus so that it was like where I would be sitting, so the TV was like completely blurred out.
Mm-hmm.
So you could see me watching the TV and you could see the TV, but you couldn't make out what was on it. So
Yeah.
like you could still kind of keep up with like the blurry movement of the TV, because like the timer is a tough one. Like sure, like you might be able to line it up, but no one can kind of like match the 2 streams up without actually like seeing the content. Yeah, it was solid. I liked it. I thought it looked pretty good.
Chris, it shouldn't really matter, right, whether or not the GSL is on Twitch or YouTube. But
No.
you mentioned that ever since it moved to YouTube, you've been a bit of your GSL game. What's
Yes.
the reasoning behind it then? What's the explanation?
I don't know. It's just that's the way it is. I mean, like the only times I usually click on it is when I see a tweet from Artosis and it's like, "Hey, GSL's live." Then I'll click on it there. But I don't know. I used to have it in a way where literally like every single time GSL was on, I would just end my stream and host it and watch.
Yeah.
But now like GSL's on, and then like I'm just not on. I'm not gonna go to YouTube to watch. I'll watch Netflix or something else. I mean, it depends who's playing, of course, but
But that's
I don't
kind of
know.
interesting, no, guys? Because that doesn't make any sense technically.
Kind
whether
of.
Yeah,
And it's actually the YouTube player is good too, so
It's
it shouldn't make
great.
a difference. But I've noticed the same too. Now I also do think that the last season of the GSL wasn't really all that great, so maybe that played a minor role in it. But I've noticed the same a little bit as Chris, and I don't have a logical explanation for it.
It's that Twitch viewers and Twitch streamers are like kind of married to the platform in this really weird way. It's like something
Well-
Devin Nash talks about a lot, that like it's kind of like Twitch farms, like Twitch keeps people in the ecosystem, and because you tend to watch people here a lot, like unless you're consuming most of your content on YouTube, you're probably just not going to catch it. Like it's just
Yeah.
going to go over, like go past your radar.
I think it has to do too with like my everyone's attention span usually is kind of low with watching streams. Mine's for sure, where like I'll click on a stream for 5 minutes, 1 minute, 10 minutes. I'm in and out of a lot of streams, right? So
Yeah.
it's like I'll
Besides when
click
you
on.
watch me, come on, Chris.
I'd never leave your stream.
No,
But
I
besides
know.
Rotti,
He has a permanent TV with Roddy's stream, like
always farming those
Roddy
channel
VODs.
points.
Yeah,
Always
yeah.
farming those channel points. But it's
With the-
like, sorry, I was just
With
gonna
the
say.
GSL, go ahead.
Okay, well, it's just like like I'll click on the Twitch directory. If I'll see who's live or not live, and then if GSL's not there, then I'll just move on. Right? I don't know.
When you watch
Right.
GSL regularly on YouTube, if you just go to your own YouTube homepage and you're logged in, it recommends it. So whenever GSL
Right.
is on, I just go to YouTube and then it says GSL is going to be streaming soon or it's on now, that kind of thing. So it's fairly easy to find. It's not
Yeah.
the same as Twitch. And I think, a lot of people, they feel like semi-betrayed that they left. It was like, I used to love the GSL was on Twitch and you moved it. And they kind of hold it against them still, but people doing business, I don't really care.
Yeah, I think it's a funny thing to think about because it shouldn't matter, but I noticed that it mattered too. And I do think maybe watching GSL now is a bit more lonely than it used to be, because it used to be Twitch chat feels like this is ours, right? Like in Twitch chat, you feel home. And then in the YouTube chat, you kind of feel like a stranger because not all the messages go through.
Oh,
and it's
YouTube
very
chat
weird.
ass. It's
Yeah,
horrible. Like that's
yeah.
like the main reason no one wants to stream there is because of that. So like I completely understand that. Yeah. I think that's true, but like I'll be real, I don't even know what the schedule is for GSL. I don't know why I don't know. I know when there are VODs, the VODs show up. Like I know if a match is being played because it shows up in my YouTube recommended. But like the live, because maybe it's because of when I sleep and when I wake up and stuff like that. Like I'm waking up as GSL's ending. So like I just never catch it live, and I never like I'm actually like just waking up so I can catch the last couple of games. So I just don't know that it exists until it's a VOD because YouTube's recommendation of live streams sucks too.
Yeah,
That
but
is a
I have
good
the
point,
same
though.
as what Neuro said. Like I have that too. As soon as I open YouTube and it's like, hey, you like the GSL, right? It's on right
Yeah.
now or it's starting soon. Like it's right in your face, and it's hard to miss it actually. But Neuro, before I don't know what you want to say. Have you noticed a difference between ever since they moved to YouTube, or is Good StarCraft still just Good StarCraft for you, and will you make damn sure to watch it?
Watching the games it's the same. Like it's the same people playing and casting and that kind of stuff. The difference that you mentioned was the Twitch chat. With Twitch chat, people have established their names. You have a bunch of
Yeah.
recognition of, oh, these other people are watching with me, and then you get some copy pastas going, and it's really fun. And a big part of the fun of watching GSO is watching it with other people, which I think some of that is lost with YouTube. Is you're not watching it with as many names that you recognize, and it's not just the big streamers and the big personalities and casters and players who are in the chat. It's also people from like your communities who you recognize and you love as well, and you see them bantering there with you. With YouTube, it's more disconnected. Like you're not going to recognize as many names.
And one of the bigger things now is that like and this can't be overstated enough, and it's helped my stream a lot, and I think it's helped a lot of people's stream, is that predictions are probably the best thing to happen to like live streaming in a long time. Like it creates an incredible amount of engagement. Like people love to bet on whether or not the streamer is going to win or lose. And they love to just like be able to interact, and that is something that YouTube just doesn't have. It's like really far behind on anything like that. Like they haven't even set up like a channel points thing, like a loyalty points type thing in general. But yeah, like the channel points just create the greatest, like it just creates like the greatest, some of the greatest experiences. Like my go-to is, do you know Rotti, do you remember Death SC?
Yeah, of course.
Australian
the
guy,
Australian.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he's a close friend of mine. We hang out all the time. He knows me very, very well. Okay, so he'll wake up in the morning, he'll grab a cup of coffee, he'll come in to chat. I'm entering like the end of my stream. He'll check his watch, and then he'll come in to chat and go, I see Sal's like, pretty deep in the stream, and he's gonna start losing. So I'm gonna start betting against my friend here. I think he's gonna lose, and he just starts to like, he'll start to bring up topics and stuff that will distract me. Like he's trying to get me to lose. Like it's absolutely one of the funniest experiences, because like sometimes he'll bring up shit that I can't help myself. I just get into like a rant, and I just start to argue, but he just like fucks off right after. Like he's just letting me go. Sometimes it backfires because I get into the zone where I'm like ranting and beating the shit out of some Protoss at the exact same time, and it's like they're fueling each other. Like I'm feeling really good, and then I win, and he's out like 100k channel points, and I never realized that he's the one that bet that much. It's fantastic, but like that kind of thing never happened like before. You can't have that like on a YouTube, and it happens all the time. It's so sick. It's so sick. It's so much fun.
I can't even bet yet with channel points from the Netherlands.
Oh, you're not allowed?
No.
You can partake in the betting by predicting with people, but you can't bet channel points. So
Yeah.
you can take part in the experience, but you can't.
But it's not
What?
falling nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Because it falls under gambling laws.
Yeah.
It's not
But
money though.
No, but yeah, it's very weird. It's just not
But
allowed.
the thing is like, so you can do the thing is that the problem with it is that the streamer can dictate what you can do with those channel points. So like one of my examples is like I have an emote for winning and an emote for losing. And you can see it in the chat right now, the L gang and the W gang. And I have them on a t-shirt. And what I'm going to do is like I'm going to set it at like 2 million channel points or whatever, and I'll send you a signed t-shirt if you can get that many channel points through
People
winning.
get channel points very quickly, mate. You'll be
Yeah,
surprised.
and that's why I was like everyone's like 2 million's so high. I was like, bro, there's some people with 1 million
No, it's
already. Like,
actually-
no, it's not. Like, it's
Especially not once they start betting and once they are a tier 3 sub. Because I have like this one channel point redemption for 750k points. where basically I'll say I'll meet you in the city and I'll go to a coffee shop with you if you want me to. And like 7 people have redeemed that. I'm like,
Yeah,
holy
yeah.
smokes, I'm gonna be high all the time soon. Like, what is happening over here?
Yeah.
The prophecy has fulfilled. Rotti will finally be high because everybody's got so many damn channel points.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We were somewhere, guys. Where were we?
I have the direction of the show ready.
Okay.
Are you ready, Sal? I need to ask for forgiveness already. I've only picked some of them. I'm not going to show all of them.
Oh my god, no.
This is a great
I love
show.
how what you did with the title too. This is like, I saw this and I like a part of me, like my elementary school self with like deep shame when they get like, you know, when you get like embarrassed and you just like feel it, you wake up in the middle of the night in cold sweat. I saw that and I was like, no. God, no.
So this is the one we're starting with. This is
It's
the
fucking
original, right?
hilarious. Like I had to laugh. Yeah, okay, go. Next. Hit it. What do we got next?
I love it.
My god, dude. They get
Oh my god, these are so good.
Dude, there was a thread, it lasted like 2 weeks, or like they were posting them every day.
Nice.
Holy shit. This is the one this is like one of the first ones. Like, look at me on the right. It's fantastic. Holy shit, dude.
I absolutely love it. This is good content.
Uh,
Life
God
is like a
damn it,
box of
man.
chocolates. Oh my god. I can't believe this. So good.
They're all so good.
They are.
Oh, wow.
Like, I love how there's a shadow behind me too. Like,
Oh my
fuck.
goodness. This just gets
Nice.
better.
The fucking rover.
You've been on the moon?
Look at that. That's so
You were with Christ? Wow.
My goodness. This is
I like how they
amazing.
can change your side too. When sometimes you're facing different
Yeah,
ways.
I know.
That is
All
good.
right.
Oh,
Guys,
God.
we were at the GSL. Congratulations to Maru and Dream for advancing out of Group B. It was played on September the 2nd. Obviously, if you guys want to find any GSL content, just type in GSL on YouTube and you'll find it immediately. Seems like the next group will be played in 4 days, September 9th. So that's going to be a busy StarCraft day. Sorry, streamers, because you're going to have GSL and the DreamHack Masters season finals at the same time.
There's one the
Rogue-
6th as well.
I like not working. It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Group D is first, indeed. That's on the 6th. So I guess that's on Monday, correct? Yeah, that's Monday for me. There's no DreamHack then yet. That's a fun group, by the way. Dark Bunny Beyond Parting on Monday. And then I guess on Thursday we'll have Thursday the 9th. Is that correct? Am I making this up?
Is
I'm
that
not
when it
making it up.
starts? The DreamHack?
No, DreamHack starts on Tuesday.
Oh, of course.
It's a 6-day tournament this time. But I mean, it's only 5 best of 3s a day, so it really shouldn't take
Yeah,
that
it's not
long.
that bad. 5 best of 3s that's nothing.
Yeah, but you know, there's pre-show, post-show.
Yep.
Kalara's making fun of Twitch
30
chat.
minutes of downtime between the matches.
Interviews. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I
Yeah.
think most days we start at 4 or 5 p.m. CET, and we'll probably wrap it
It's
up
11 a.m. EST. I know.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'm there.
9 or 10. So around 4 p.m. you should be in the clear cell to start your day.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, enjoy the GSL, guys. Obviously, Tasteless is back. He's out of Neuro, as he called it. And last but not least, we had the Asus ROG Fall qualifiers, and that is why there was no Pylon show on Wednesday this week. Basically, 3 server qualifiers. 8 people got invited to Asus ROG. It happens 2 weeks from now, and 8 people could qualify. 3 on the European server, 3 on the American server, 2 on the Korean server. The Korean server was played first, and as Cobra can go ahead and show us that bracket real quick, I just want to ask you, Neuro, did you see that Sarah played in the Korean server qualifier? Because I was very surprised by that.
What is the ping from Finland to Korea?
Like 300, isn't it? Or like 250 or something?
Must be between 250, yeah, 250, 300, maybe 220 if you're very lucky, but it should be quite a bit higher than that.
So for me, I would say if I'm playing with above 200, it feels gross. What would you say is the cutoff for you guys? When does it start
160.
feeling gross?
160, and that's when I really start hating life already.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah, so for me, it depends 100% on how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling like if I'm like at 100%, got a good 8 hours sleep, like 120, 130, it's fine. But then if I'm not doing good, give me 100 and I'm complaining. Like it's just like I played so long on NA without
Yeah.
ever switching. Like I'm so used to having nothing pretty much. And that
Yep.
you like jump up and it's just like it's stuff like I actually have a very like recent experience with the Switch, right? Because I just switched to EU.
hmm
It affects everything, like building depots in succession. I'll stop my SCVs all the time.
Yeah.
I go to
It
build,
messes-
like I build S, build S, build S, and all my SCVs stop, and I'm like, oh my god, like it just is so frustrating. Like you have to think about every single key stroke if you're not used to it, right?
Right.
So 200's got to be brutal for that.
Yeah, it messes with your mental too because you're thinking about the lag. You don't want to be mentioning it, but then it's like it's there, so you mention.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
for a
right
long
there.
time when I only played Korea, like when you only play a server, it doesn't really matter the ping. You kind of get used to it.
You get used
Right?
to it.
So
Yeah.
for a long time, I was just used to Korea, Taiwan. But now that I play a ton of my off race, I play NA for my off races. So now it feels and like something's happened to the Korea server. Although I think it's better the last like week. But I went from getting 220 to Taiwan to like 260 to Taiwan and like 310 to Korea. So I couldn't tell if it was just the fact that I was playing a lot on NA and then now a lot on Korea. That Korea feels even like almost unplayable for me. But
Do you think it was the big server maintenance that they did, where everything was kind of like down? They kind of fixed some shit.
Recently,
Yeah, on Monday, everyone like all the server.
no,
went down.
it was bad a couple weeks ago. But I think I don't know. The last week it's been okay on Korea again. At least for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
so
think
maybe
they all had
maybe.
maintenance. I thought. No.
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
couldn't
Yeah,
tell you.
it could have been something that they needed to clean up. Who
I
knows?
get like 210 to Australia and I think 220 to Singapore. It's
Yeah.
kind of jarring when you're NA and you get US West. And
Yeah.
for me, that's like 30 to 40, which is
Have you
really
not
nice.
blocked us?
No,
What do you get to Brazil?
What?
about 190, 180.
It's pretty
What?
gross playing those servers
You know
on
you
NA.
can. You know you can block those servers.
I
right?
know that I can do this.
Yeah,
It's a
okay.
character building exercise for me.
Right. That's right. That's
It's like
true.
eating spicy food. It's
like
it
putting a
hurts
brick
you.
on your face when you go to bed. Like you just, I need this. I will sleep with discomfort. We're gonna do it. I just mental fortitude building thing. Like,
Didn't
Sure.
Blizzard one time come out and say like, "Don't do that"?
who
I
cares?
mean, not that it matters now.
What's the intern gonna do?
Well,
ban
I
you?
think, I
They
think
can't ban map hackers, bro.
Maybe it was when the ladder qualifiers were going on. And you
Bro,
could
there's
qualify
people
through
at
ladder.
8,500 MMR right now. Do you
Yeah, I
think
don't
they're
know
gonna
how
come
they've done
after
that.
your ass?
I don't know how they've done that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Come on, man. Like they they're probably striking to bring coffee into the office right now. They're not gonna get mad at you for not wanting to play Australia.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually this whole server thing was so weird because for the longest time it would always just find a reasonable server if you had very high ping. So when I was playing from the Netherlands, I would like the worst case scenarios that I play on US West if I would play against one of the Aussies, because that's kind of in the center. But then they
Yeah.
changed something, and I don't know what it was exactly, but now basically they take the lowest average. So if Pick has like 1 ping to the Australian server and I have like 240, but we would both have 150 to West, that's like,
Yeah.
300 sounds bad, but 241 sounds really good. Let's make it happen on Australia. And it just made it impossible for me to ever enjoy playing on NA again. Because I play on the Singaporean server, I play on Brazil from the Netherlands. That's obviously just impossible.
What probably happened is that his ping got worse, like to like NA. So it's always been that way. It's always been like the
No.
lowest possible.
No. I swear it's not always been that way, Sal. I'm 1,000% sure. I used to never, ever play from the Netherlands on Brazil, Singapore,
Yeah.
or Australia. That never happened until something changed where they had a little server update and they thought they made it better, but they basically made it impossible.
It's
This
possible
happened
that his
around-
ping is worse, and then that's factoring into the math.
No,
and that's why
it's
you're
not just
getting it
Pig, mate. It's not just Pig. It's like
Oh, okay.
every Asian I play, it's every Brazilian. Like the Zerg Lord, Roaches and Link show up 3 minutes into the game. I've got 240 ping, I'm
Yeah.
still building the
Just change it.
Cybercore. It's impossible.
There
But I
was something
remember-
that happened. I used to never play on Australia against Pig, and now I always do. It's about 100% Australia server.
That's interesting. See, I wouldn't have thought that they changed anything because that would require doing work on the game. But like,
Okay.
I guess.
When we had that tournament in Korea, the Intel Extreme Masters You know, the one that Scarlet won. That was
Yeah,
part of the lead up to the Olympics. There were a couple of Blizzard employees there. That was a day and age, guys, where Blizzard people still traveled to StarCraft 2 events. And there was someone there actually who worked on the Battle.net and worked on server routing. And we had a chat with him about like a couple of things. And then he also said like, all right, well, we'll write it down and we'll make updates to it. Because Nathanius had an entire run. He never stopped talking about servers to this dude.
Oh yeah.
But I believe it happened slightly after that. So in 2018 or so, that's when something changed.
Ah, okay. So we're talking a while back then. I thought you meant more. Okay, I thought you meant more.
No,
recently.
not
Never
recently.
mind.
No,
Oh,
it's-
okay.
I
mean,
my
no,
bad,
that-
my bad.
Recently,
Very
nothing
important.
happened, Sil. Come
Yeah,
on.
I mean,
though.
that's why I was like, I was so defiant because I was like, why recently? Like, why are we bringing this up now? Like,
No, no.
nothing's changed. No, okay.
That would
My
actually
bad.
make sense to me too, because I mean, I kind of have a unique situation where I'm playing Korea. Most people aren't playing Korea, but especially from like where I'm playing, East Coast United States, it's like I will queue into everyone outside of Korea before I queue into someone in Korea. Like I will hit. I'm pretty sure I play every single foreigner that plays on Korea. You know, people like I don't know, pretty much everyone. I play people from Taiwan. I'll play all the Taiwan guys a bunch. I don't know. I just play everyone outside of Korea, and I almost never get server Korea. Like almost never will get server Korea on Korea. Like out of like 1,000 games, I'll probably get server Korea maybe once. Sometimes I
Have you
won't even
thought
get
about-
server Korea.
Have you thought about trying to block the Taiwan and the other non-Korean servers and see what happens?
Well, it's
for
just
curiosity's
Taiwan
sake?
and Korea as the two
Yeah, if
servers.
If you
Yeah,
block
so-
Taiwan, what happens?
Yeah, I thought about it, but the thing is, Korea is so much laggier for me. It's like I don't know if I want to
Well,
play
I
it.
mean, but if you want the players to see what
Right,
happens, I'd be
but it is.
curious.
I mean, it's just kind of an interesting situation where it's like
Yeah.
I don't even think if like Gemini tried to snipe me from Korea, I'm not sure you could even hit me because it would just give me like it'll give me someone
Yeah.
who's like 1,000 of them are lower than me, but they're
There's
somewhere
there's
else.
a service. There's like a VPN service that Jason was showing me, and like a bunch of other people were talking about. That's like pretty good. I can't remember what the hell it was called, but apparently it gives like very consistent routes. So
Yeah,
maybe you could try that, like, and see if that helps with the Korea thing.
Yeah.
And it may give you the matches because if it's a VPN and they have a node like right by Korea, then the Korean server will think that you're right beside it.
Yeah.
And it will give you the matches that you want. It's possible. You'd have to find out.
Yeah, because I run into mismatches a lot because it just
Yeah,
I think the way the algorithm is it goes preference by location.
Yeah, Mudfish is the one. Here, I'll put it in the Discord chat.
All right, guys.
Mudfish. I think.
Yeah.
Sarah played in the Korean qualifier. I was surprised to see it because he normally never does. It did not go very well for Yona. He lost in the opening round of the upper bracket to Beyond 2-0, and in the lower bracket he lost to Dongriku. So he had to try his luck again later. Other than that, we did have Cure and Solar making it through. So the same Solar that just finished in the bottom of his GSL group did make it through a very fierce Korean qualifier. Job well done. Cure, Solar, are we
Yep.
surprised, guys?
Not really. Solar plays when Solar's on, he's really good. Like, he's really good, and sometimes he just gets beaten really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Beyond is the exact opposite. Like, I guess he's exactly the same. Sorry, he's exactly the same. Like when he's on, he looks unbeatable, but then when he's off, like, oh Jesus. Yeah. So
Neuro,
I'm not surprised.
you happy
to
with
see
these
Solar
two?
through.
This reminds me of a recent poll in the StarCraft subreddit of what is the most obnoxious unit, and they actually link this. Most hated unit. I was really surprised to see the Widowmine beat the Void Ray by a pretty big margin.
Oh, there's some Protosses botting that. 100%. Holy shit.
Probably, honestly,
Get
probably.
the fuck out of here, man. Oh my
I
god.
linked it in the Twitch chat, but
I mean, without knowing it, I would obviously say that it would be the Dark Templar or the Disruptor. Like, I would really expect
Oh,
those
your
two
link
to be.
died.
It would be
way up
Void
there.
Ray right now. I
Really?
think with the proxy versus Terran.
Oh,
Yeah, because the Zergs hate the Void Ray meta.
and dude, Terrans will break down and break their keyboard over
Yeah,
the Void
so
Ray
it's
meta,
both
man.
of them.
Like, this is
And then of course they both hate Protoss, so
yeah.
it just makes
No,
sense.
actually, you know
Rays-
what? You know what's funny? I consider right now, like, I consider Void Rays to be like a fourth race. Like,
Oh my god.
because people who open proxy Void Ray, like, they don't play macro games, and the people who like those the people that I run into, like, they do one or the other. Playing regular Protoss is fun. Like, playing Protoss, I enjoy TVP. I actually do. It's fun. Fuck all the Terrans who don't think that it's fun. It's fun. It's a decent
All right,
matchup. It's entertaining, but Void Rays is a whole different ball game. It's got its own meta. Like it's its own thing, completely different. The natural is not in their natural; it's in your natural. Like, it's a whole different thing, completely different.
We'll talk
It's
about
not
Void Race real soon, Sal. Let's just go through these two qualifiers real quick, and then we can talk about whatever the hell we want. After this Korean qualifier, we had the European qualifier, where Yona did make it, but he had to work very hard for it. In the upper bracket, and I was actually a bit surprised, we had Zest playing from Korea on the European server, winning the European server qualifier, and also MaxPax for the first time in his career beat Zero in a competitive series. Neuro, did you see MaxPax Zero?
I did not. How did that go?
Okay. Chris, you saw it?
I saw the result. I didn't see the games.
Okay. The final game, it really felt that Zero was doing several things and he was getting in his comfort zone and everything was going fine. But in a little bit of an uncharacteristic way, he left his Vipers a bit exposed at one point. So one Viper got sniped, the other one got feedback, the third one got one spell off. And then it wasn't just that the game was ever supposed to end there, but Max was like, oh my god, this is a great fight. And then he just took a great fight and he basically never stopped attacking. And then he just walked into the natural Zero and basically killed him because the Remax couldn't save Yona. So obviously very, very well done by MaxPax. I'm really happy to see him in Asus ROG. Zero did take care of business the following day by taking out Vanya the Goat, who had a great run, by the way. Shout out to Vanya. And also Showtime in the final round of the European qualifier. I guess you guys didn't see any of that, or did you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure I saw some of them, but I saw some of the NA stuff too. I followed the bracket, but I didn't follow all the games.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think it's a lovely list. And shout out to Zest, of course, for not just being incredibly handsome, but somehow winning European qualifiers while playing from Korea.
There is something I love about the Koreans playing the other servers qualifiers. I don't know, because it's so rare. They come over. I mean, they do NA a fair amount, but when I see them in Europe, I'm like, I like this. I like this a lot.
Well, I like it too until they start beating the Europeans because that's just kind of a bad look on all of us. But hey, now at least we have MaxPax stealing their prize money from the Korean Weekly. So we're fighting back. Okay, Skill has made it top 8. MaxPax is in there. All right. Job well done to those three. Obviously, 3 amazing players that will join the other guys. Last but not least, we had the American qualifier, and I casted the final bit of the second day yesterday. If you guys want to talk about tools, I actually have a clip. So if you guys see anything in this bracket that you want to talk about it. I'm gonna see if somebody clipped this last night because maybe you guys didn't see it, but a crazy fight happened. You guys must watch this.
I did see some of the games here. I will say Puzzle had kind of an interesting. He beat Marine Lord and then he took a game out parting. Apparently that's an old school name, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen Puzzle in a while.
So also Buell was playing one of the qualifiers. Was this one?
Yeah. I've seen that too.
Buell is.
Yeah,
Okay.
Buell's playing again.
Damn it, nobody clipped it, but I really actually want to show this in the VOD. Basically, Bjorn is playing against Australia, but for poor Bjorn, it's like 11 a.m. in the morning, and at one point he's playing like a god, and the other moment units are just move commanding F2 into Protoss meat grinders in 3 different locations. Obviously, you can't give him a very hard time for it. But it was this crazy fight where he has the Vikings in a great spot. He lands 2 EMPs, and if I show you the screenshot of that fight, and I will tell you this game did not end here, and Australia actually came back to win it, you'll be like, that's actually impossible. But the greatest battery overcharge that was ignored for 12 seconds, keeping an Archon alive against 20 units, keeping the Stalkers alive, and then 2 disruptors. Roop, boom, boom, minus 20 supply each shot.
Yeah.
Actually, Australia played amazing, man. He played absolutely amazing, but you'll be in pure pain. But I can actually... if you guys want
both
to
games were kind of like that, weren't they? Where Bien was in decent spots in both, but then Australia eventually won both. So I kind of went.
Patient disruptor player is like, it's like nails on chalkboard levels of infuriating.
I have many painful memories playing against MCanning, where maybe the early game goes pretty well for me. I get the prism, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna go fuck him up. I get like a big ass Roach Hydra army. It's like, let's get in between the natural and third, bop, 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 bop. Then a couple shoo purification novas come in, bop, bop. And then it's like, I'm dead.
There's a stretchy period of time when Roach Hydra was that was like the meta composition, and like no one was going disruptors. And then like that's how I was making my disruptor montage. It'd be like Ravengers pop in all over the place. I'd be like, all right. I'd be like,
okay, I almost have it. I'll just tell Cobra to show you guys.
Cobra, make it so.
Yeah.
Those brackets are so, but like that bracket for Beyond not making it, that is so much. Like, I don't know, just making it that deep and not making it. It almost happened to Estrella where he lost 1-2 in the upper bracket and then didn't make it. Like, that is true pain. That makes
I
you
have
like
to
hate competing.
I have a different question for you guys then. While Cobra is gonna get this set up, do you guys think they should have straight up invited Beyond because he's the reigning defending champion of the Asus ROG? That happened a year ago, or do you think that would be wrong?
It's a
I mean, the
long
thing
time
is,
ago.
yeah, a lot changes in a
Did
year,
they
but
invite the Katowice champion? Yeah,
I think it would have been fair.
right.
I think it would have been fair to bring him back.
I don't think anyone would have complained.
No.
No.
But it's not. It's not that many invites, right? How many invites is it?
8. They did 8
Eight?
invites based on the EPT current standings, but then I feel like
Yeah.
you may as well could have done 7 invites based on the current EPT standings and then
Yeah.
invite Beyond.
Maybe when the
Yeah.
last one finished, they weren't planning on having another. I don't know. But
What's your take on this, Euro? Would you have liked to see them invite Beyond because he was the reigning champion of Asus ROG that happened exactly a year ago?
No.
Have Beyond what?
So
Return?
Beyond won Asus ROG exactly a year ago, but they did not invite him. He just had to go through the qualifiers. He didn't make it, so now he won't even be in the main event. Would you have liked to see them straight up invite him to the tournament, or do you think that'd be too much?
I think that would be cool. They do that for a lot of tournaments where if you're the champion, you're auto in. Sometimes they even put you into the playoffs automatically because it's like you've clearly demonstrated that you're a contender for this. So welcome back. I think that's one of the coolest advantage of being successful in StarCraft is they end up seeding you really far into some tournaments for that.
I think it helps build legacy too, right? Like it helps build a
absolutely.
storyline. Like it's like, but then you get the Puritans who are like, well, if you can't qualify in this meta, you don't deserve it, and that's like,
Yeah, but
It does add the like from boxing and fighting, like passing the championship belt to someone else. Like, can someone else take the belt from this person?
yeah.
Yeah, I like that, and I do think that the storylines are important. And I don't think that just because Beyond didn't make it past solo and Cure playing on his home server doesn't mean that he's not necessarily good enough, right? Like if you guys would have seen those games, it was a bit heartbreaking. Like I love Australia and I love to see him do well, and he played his heart out. By the way, he played incredibly solid against both Bunny and Beyond. But you just know that like it felt that Beyond's eyes were almost closing at one point, and like units are like not even fighting anymore, and it was a bit painful. I'm like, man, does this guy really deserve not to have a shot at defending his title because he's not qualifying at 11 a.m. Korea time? Now, of course, he had multiple qualifiers to do so, but 8 players got invited, so that takes away 50% of the potential slots to qualify in the
That's
first
a lot,
place.
right?
Yeah.
For that low number of players, like
I 100% agree.
that number of invites is kind of crazy. Like I understand like 8 invites for like 24 players, or like it just feels like a lot.
What was
No,
the criteria for those 8 being invited?
EPT points.
EPT standings.
Which I think is fair because with the EPT, NA, and EU, everyone plays them. It's the who's who, right? Like the people who have the highest EPT points, they deserve to be there. And they're probably like the best 7 players or 8 players that you're gonna get to show up. It's not like it's like a bad metric or something, but it's a lot of invited players for a tournament. I think either go all invite at that point, or like all like that just seems like a really weird.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
think indeed inviting 25%, like if you would have 4 invite
Yeah,
slots,
that
right?
feels more. Yeah.
I actually think it would have been really cool to just invite the highest ranked player from Europe, NA, Korea, and then the reigning champ Beyond. Then you have 4 invites. Let the other 12 qualify. But yeah, inviting 8 players and not inviting the guy who won it last year, who's obviously still relevant. Like you don't want to invite somebody if they are like completely irrelevant. But Beyond is still a beast. He's still good. Anyway, it was a little bit heartbreaking. Cobra, do you have the clip for them?
11 a.m. qualification time is like pretty shit too.
Yeah,
isn't it?
man. Poor
Like,
guy
for
was
Korea?
grinding. And he played a Wadi tournament like 12 hours before that. So it's not like he woke up at 3 a.m. to play that qualifier.
Like qualifiers are usually in the evening. Like why the fuck were they in the morning?
Can you full screen it for this so these guys can really properly see this? But MCanning, you can already see. This is moments away.
I've already seen this.
Come on. SaL. All right, we're going to press that play button.
It's open.
Yeah. This is
I see the
insane.
disruptor in the bottom right. Let's go.
Let's play it. Like, I cannot believe the game did not end here. I started my it's 1-1 speech.
170 supply to 136.
Yeah,
Okay.
but like that is like bad 73 army supply too, because that Colossus is sitting duck. Can you go
Oh,
ahead
it's
and
gonna
play
die
it?
instantaneously.
Yeah. Can you
I'm
play?
ready. I'm ready.
That is it, man. Beyond's army is so fucking good here. The Terran army, look, battery overcharge doesn't do anything. Skilless,
Oh,
clip it
no.
real quick.
I fucking
Skilless, clip
see it.
Nova to the face doesn't matter. Second Nova to the face doesn't matter. Okay, it might actually start mattering.
That is.
Don't
Oh
fucking
my
clip it,
God.
Skilless. Man, battery
Like,
overcharge is so good.
you know
That
what's
was like
good about this fight?
110% over, and then there were 2 amazing Novas and a battery overcharge.
You know what's
Now
so good
Australia's
about
back
this
in the
fight?
game. Tell me.
Is
Don't
that the
clip it,
disruptors
Skilless.
were not
Whatever
even
you
on
do,
his screen.
do not clip it.
Like, they were so far in the back that you know he didn't see them. Even if he was looking for them, like, all he saw was the ball and then the death. Like, that's really, really painful.
I mean, I spoke with Bunny. Bunny said he's been
Oh,
up
this
all
game
night.
went
on for
Skilless,
15
don't
more
clip it.
minutes, and there were
Don't
around
clip it,
17 other really big
battery
disruptive
overcharge is
shots.
so good.
And I'm
That
like,
was
man,
like
I love Australia, and I'm really happy for him, but it's hard to get
Now
Chad on
Australia's
board
back
with
in
this
the game.
victory. I know that much. Don't clip
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
Skilless.
yeah.
Whatever you do.
It's the
do not
classic
clip it.
Hearthstone. Like, did you ever hear Hearthstone's analogy about it, where it's like playing a dodgeball, but you're the only one with the ball? That was, yeah.
I mean, I spoke with
He
Bunny.
made
Bunny
that
said he's
comment
been
after
up all
beating
night.
Gabe. It was funny.
I don't know what the deal is
That
with
was the
Beyond, but-
final game of the NA qualifier through the
yeah.
upper bracket the day
think Beyond's
before.
probably been
Was
up all
it? I
night
got
too.
it qualified through NA.
Couple of
So we had
Zealots are gonna
Australia
run
qualify
underneath.
in the day before. Oh yeah, we had the two Korean protoses, Hero and Potting, and that makes the full lineup. If you can take a look at the Liquipedia page of Asus RG real quick, we can maybe show the people at home all 16 players. That will be happening 2 weeks from now, guys. So the following weekend is DreamHack Masters season finals, I guess, or DreamHack Masters fall season finals. The following weekend, we've got Asus ROG. The Muslim and I will be in a studio in Stockholm, but hopefully we'll have some online commentators too. And that should be awesome. So a lot of awesome esports coming your way. That's it for this week in esports. As you guys can see, it was or at least pro esports. It was a very busy one. We'll talk about some of the other stuff a little bit later. But guys, let's just have a chat. Even though we're so good already in literally derailing every single conversation, we look at the bracket. We end up talking about Brazilian servers to Australia, but it's all good. It's all good. Chris, I want to kick off, like not really our main topic today, but I want to start this one off with you, and I'm sure that the other guys will have plenty to say about everything that you will say, and that's obviously the way I want this to go, guys. Don't wait for me to ask a question. Let's just chat the way we have been doing. When I was watching you stream, Chris, a week and a half ago, and you basically had a little TED Talk moment at the end of it, and you were not sad. You were not going to try to make it a pity party, but you basically just said, guys, like I've been doing this for a while. I'm trying really hard, but it kind of feels like it's not really going the way that I want to go. So can you let the people at home know what that chat was all about, and how do you look at that chat 2 weeks later?
Yeah, basically the TLDR. Yeah, a couple weeks ago on stream, and as a streamer, I think you always have different types of thoughts. Mentally you go up, you go down. Basically, I was saying, I'm not calling it quits or anything like that, but I thought, the end for me streaming could be sooner rather than later. I don't think I could ever really truly quit. But, I look at the state of my stream. I look at, you look at the numbers of your own stream. You look at the trajectory you're going. And, it's a tough question for any streamer. When do you say I'm done? When do you continue? Things like that. So, it's just a lot of my own thinking. It's, some months are great and you love it. And, usually I always love streaming. But, sometimes you look at it, I'm 27 now. And, I did finish university and stuff. So, it's kind of that eternal question of when do I switch? Do I switch? It's hard to know exactly when to stop. So I was basically just telling the stream that's on, it's on my radars. I haven't applied to anywhere, or, it's not like I have an active job lined up or anything, but it is something I have thought about quite a lot lately. And yeah, who knows what the future holds, but it might not always have MCanning in the StarCraft section.
Neuro, is this stuff that you think about as well, or how do you feel just even listening to something like this?
It's totally fair, because I think that's one of the evaluations that every streamer has just in the back of their mind or in the forefront of their mind, depending on how they're doing, is how much do I enjoy what I'm doing, and how much am I earning with the effort that I'm putting in. And with the pulling out of the Blizzard Activision support of like updates and that kind of thing for the game, there isn't as much just like new life that's being breathed in from the creator side of development, but the games and the entertainment aspect and the excitement of the chat has been really consistent, and that's one of the things that makes it really awesome to continue streaming StarCraft for me is the stuff that happens. Like new really goofy things happen, opponents saying really silly stuff. A lot of new people dive into StarCraft. I feel like StarCraft 2 is sacred in the sense that anyone who values competition and personal growth as a player, there's always StarCraft 2 over there. And there's still the best RTS players playing StarCraft 2 or StarCraft 1. So if you really want to test yourself and you want to get away from the nasty teammates who just talk shit to you the entire time, play StarCraft and ladder. And you do see some of those up and coming new streams of someone who's platinum and they decided to start playing StarCraft maybe a few months ago. So that new life is coming from people who respect the game and they've been aware of it and they want to take their shot. So the way that I've described being able to ladder and train is like your own training in warriorship. You can get away from the business politics of, well, you're not allowed to do this because you don't have enough seniority, blah, blah, blah. It's about your results. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. And it's on you every time. And that's a breath of fresh air, I think, for a lot of people, where you can get away from all that bullshit and just do something that's uniquely your own and achieve something that is fully yours. I would argue that getting platinum or diamond in StarCraft 2 is badass as a gamer. Like if you've gotten diamond in StarCraft, that's something that's way above and beyond what a lot of people can accomplish mechanically and strategically. So I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I do mix a lot of other kinds of content with the StarCraft, which I think keeps my hunger for the game. Like I'm really excited when I get to play StarCraft because I'm also leading a classic guild in WoW, and I do D&D and some politics and news and other stuff as well. So I think the variety for me has helped keep my fire for Zerg and playing StarCraft really high. Personally, I'm also the kind of person who can have oatmeal every morning for breakfast, so I don't get bored of the same thing very easily.
I mean, obviously, I think we all kind of agree with that, and I think that's beautiful. And then we also kind of miss a little bit maybe where Chris was coming from, because, you know, if let's say you're streaming nonstop in 2018, and we all know that streaming is amazing when you're on the up and up, and like it gets a little bit better each and every single month, and you set a new sub record, or you get more bits this month than you've ever had before, the viewing numbers increase. I think all of that stuff is incredibly lovely to experience, and it makes it so easy to just keep on pushing, keep on enjoying the game, and keep on doing everything you do. But if you stream 2 years nonstop and there is no growth, if anything, there is decline, then I do think it's a little bit hard, right? Because, you know, when you reach the age of 27, 28, you're like, well, do I really want to go slowly down for the upcoming years, or do you want to shift priorities, right? I think that's kind of the main thing that's been on your mind.
Well, that's my mind. That's my mind if you're
Right.
talking to me still. Yeah.
So like, this is so have what? Okay, so the question is like, do you want to remain a content creator, or do you not want to be a content creator? Because like,
Well, I think for me, it's one of those things. I think, you know, the overarching thing is I still love streaming. I really do. You know, I come online and I have a lot of fun talking to my chat. My community is great. You know, and I know so many people in my community. You know, I hang out with them in my own Discord. Like, I don't know, I know a lot of the guys, and I really enjoy my community. But I think the overarching thing for me is it gets tough where it's like, you know, like I don't love running PvP simulator over and over again.
yeah,
But then, you know, when I'm playing off race, I don't know if people really want to watch the off race. People like kind of like seeing your main race. They like seeing your high ranking count. And then it's also a situation where, you know, so if I'm not loving the game as much, it can be harder for me to grind as much streaming, because it's like, I don't know what else I would want to stream. Like I play some other games, it'd be hard for me to like stream other games. So it's kind of, I feel, you know.
Well, it's more on the streaming thing, because like it seems like it always comes back to like, at least when I talked to you at the DreamHack the one time, like the fact that it like reflects also in the statistics of your stream, I think seemed to bother you then, and probably bothers you a lot now. Like,
well, I would say I'm not like overly like concerned of like my act. Like it's not like I'm like I'll like end my stream or I end a couple streams and I'll be like, ugh, you know, or it's like I'll look at my numbers midstream and I'll be like, ugh, this is not what I want. It's just kind of like a realistic point of view where like you know how much you're making as a streamer, you know how things are going, if your chat's quiet or not. So it's like, you know.
Well, the realistic thing is that Twitch's growth mechanisms suck ass. They're terrible. And
Yeah.
that's true for every streamer unless you're like you can find yourself in the top 4 very consistently or on the front page of the directory like a lot.
Right.
And it's like I was like it was alluded to earlier, like if you're streaming against like DreamHack or you're streaming against any of the bigger orgs, like you're gonna get fucked. Like so when I'm streaming against EPT, like I've given up trying to even like not trying to knock people, like I've given up caring because now the majority of my growth comes through YouTube.
Right.
So like I'm getting better viewership now with EPT than I was before the YouTube stuff, like with nothing. And the reason that it's happening is because the growth came externally, like, and the people that are watching that are no longer the same, right? And that's something like if you wanted to continue down this path, you have to start to look at how you're gonna grow and bring people in. Because like if for me, streaming is what I want to do, but I recognize that the people that are gonna watch that they don't come from Twitch.
Yeah.
Right? Because Twitch isn't like Twitch is there to get people to stay on the bigger streamers, right? That's what they want. And they
I
and
know
it's
what you
like a
mean.
honeypot towards them and everything like so now during the day most of the times Twitch helps me where it used to hinder me. Like where it used to be that Twitch's mechanism for discovery was painful for me, now it helps me because I'm like very consistently in the 180 plus viewers and like that's great for me and I'm really great about it. But I'm gonna be just like completely honest, all of that came from the co-op companionship with Hearthstone and the ranked roulette. If it wasn't for him, I'd be fucked. But that all stemmed
I
from
think
me.
I don't believe that, Sal. That
That's
is actually
100% true. It's
no.
directly reflected in the metrics of my channel. I've
You're
followed it
telling me
very
that
closely.
people that watch a YouTube video will then only watch your StarCraft stream, and if you didn't make a YouTube video,
No,
they wouldn't have been on your StarCraft.
but
I do
I've been
not believe that.
running this YouTube series with Hearthstone for like 9 months, and all of the growth that I've accrued has
Mhm.
come since the start of that series. Like, and now all I'm saying is that now I get growth from Twitch, but the reason I get growth from Twitch is because it was a separate content piece that
Mm,
put me above the low 100 mark, like
I
all the
mean, I've
time.
seen you at that kind of viewership in the past, but I still think that cannot just only be it. Let's not forget that you've also just been streaming for a long time. You've got one of the
Yeah,
highest quality streams out there, and you have a
that's
lot of
true.
friends who do host you. And then
That's
when
true.
people speak highly of you and they host you, it will also bring more people to
Yeah.
your Twitch channel. I've always felt that the connection between YouTube and Twitch is actually not that strong because there are people that have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, but they go
Yeah.
live and they even make a YouTube video about the fact that they go live on Twitch and they can't even break 100 viewers. So that's actually, I find it hard to
I,
believe that the only reason you get
Mm,
views is because of YouTube.
Yeah, but those people that do that, they're not usually they're not as consistent, or it's like their stream is like a couple hours, like 3 times a week, right? Like if
Mhm.
your stream is a constant billboard for yourself, and like anybody who comes from YouTube recognizes the name, right? And then they come in. But what I was trying to get at is that like I know that this is true because my viewership when there's a ton of competition has like doubled since that series, and it's no surprise. Like it's not something that I can really like argue with or whatever. It's just that's just what happened. So I know that the baseline of people that will watch my stream, regardless of what is going on, has grown substantially because of the bad days. I know on the bad days that that's true. And now on the good days where it's like just me for a couple hours, whatever, when like Hiram Rain's like later or whatever, my
Mhm.
viewership is much higher. But the only reason that that's true is because the base is also much bigger. So my whole point there was that like if you're thinking about like what am I supposed to do with like the declining viewership thing, like it's sometimes like branching out and coming up with and just saying yes to people. Like Hearthstone doing the co-op thing was a complete crapshoot. Like I wrote co-op off and thought it was a complete joke and like didn't want to take part in it at all. But when Hearthstone asked me to do a thing, I wasn't going to say no. So I said yes. And it turned out to be one of the biggest pieces of content that I've done, and I continue to do it now. And that was just complete and utter luck.
yeah.
So
I think
like
you're downplaying yourself a bit too, but yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I mean there's a lot like
No,
sure
That's
like
it,
the stream
ran.
is I mean, sure. The stream is fun. Like the stream is fun, and I have a lot of fun, and people laugh at me all the time, and I'm terrible and also good at the game at the same time, and it's great. Like I have a good time. Like it's my favorite thing I do. I know I love my stream more than anything I've ever made in my whole life. Like, I understand that there's an appeal. What I'm saying is that when I look at
I
the
hope you
growth
don't have
metrics,
children, by the way.
well, I'm talking specifically about work. Okay,
Okay.
listen. All right, I love my wife more than my stream. All right, everybody in chat can go fuck off. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not about to like write off my family and shit. But like, I have all the things I've ever built. My stream is it's my baby, right? Like, I love it a lot. But I know where the growth came from because I've watched the numbers. Like, I've watched the trends. I know that
All right, okay,
discoverability
but-
on YouTube is like way better.
This is not really the main point of discussion anyway, because we
Well,
already
it was
established
coming
that
back to
stream-
that. Like,
No, but streaming is lovely when things go well. That is like something that we can all
Yeah.
agree upon. If
Yeah.
MCanning would go from 500 average viewers to 700 average viewers over a year, he would not be having this same conversation because there is growth. It doesn't even have to be insane. You know, none of
No,
us
but-
think we're going to be Pokemon
Yeah.
tomorrow, but anything that's progress feels good. A slow and steady decline, I think, is very tough to deal with for
Right.
for anyone. And I think
Yeah.
that's obviously a completely different discussion on.
But that's
where
what my
growth-
point was.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
he's
where I was
saying
going.
a way
I'm
to
saying
grow.
that like if you need if you like the content creation part and that's what keeps you here, but the decline is what's bothering you, the
Mhm.
recognition here has to be that the growth comes from out like externally. Like
I mean,
it doesn't like you
I-
need to branch out as a creator to bring people into the thing that you like. And that's like I mean that's just straight I'm repeating it straight from like Devin Nash mostly, but like that's something that a lot of content creators are doing. And it started with the whole DMCA shit when people were scared they're going to lose everything and they're
Mhm.
noticing that there's a big uptick because of what they're doing externally to Twitch itself.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I was trying to get at. Like the growth doesn't necessarily come from internally with Twitch.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you. YouTube can help, and I would also say, Rotti, I think you like YouTube. Like there was a period of time in my life. I mean, I wasn't editing like Harston was, but I was uploading to YouTube every single day for like 2 or 3 years. I was uploading at least. I mean, it'd just be a game from my stream, but there would still be a lot of people that would come in and be like, "Hey, I watch you on YouTube. This is the first time I've ever seen you on Twitch." I'd be like, "Really?"
Yeah.
So like, there's definitely a YouTube audience that comes.
Yeah.
But I think you're downplaying it a bit, Sal, and I also think I don't know. I'm kind of at it's like it's not like I'm like okay, how can it's not like I'm in a way where it's like, it's not like I don't know how I can grow potentially, but it's also I'm a realist. It's I don't want to make it sound like I'm giving up or anything, because I still love streaming, but it's like you reach a certain point, it's like I don't know. It seems like it can be almost very hard to grow. Is what I'll say. I'm not gonna say impossible.
No, it is extremely difficult. And I was just I think it's telling that you don't really want to like do the other stuff that comes with it, like diversifying your brand and shit. That is stuff that it's like the paperwork of my job. Like I don't want to do YouTube. I think it sucks, but I do it because I know that the job like requires it. Like I
Yeah.
know that it does.
I mean,
and that's
I mean,
I put
agree.
up with that because I love what I do, like on stream.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean, I did. I mean, I probably should have done more editing and worked harder on YouTube years ago. But there was a decent period of time I was uploading to YouTube a lot. But I'm not going to argue with you. It definitely would be more beneficial if I uploaded to YouTube every day than didn't upload. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have any final thoughts.
Honestly, I think if you were gonna do anything on YouTube right now, what I'd do is I'd just do YouTube Shorts and I'd take your disruptor hits and I'd put a 60-second thing up and then cash in on the.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, people like shorter content more than
It takes like 3
actual
seconds
games.
to do the short too.
Do you upload your matches? Because I think that's one of the lowest effort, highest impact kinds of content that you can make, where if you stream for 4 hours of StarCraft, you're going to have a couple pretty funny ladder games in there somewhere. So just like clipping those and shipping those, people will really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean that's what I used to do. That was all I would do. It's kind of like the bare minimum because you just make a highlight and then export it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I did for years. I did that for years.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's
You've
the
been
nice
quiet
thing
for a
about
while, bro.
StarCraft, I think, is sorry, what?
No. I wanted to say you've been quiet for a while. I saw you were listening carefully, so I wonder if you had any thoughts on everything the boys were talking about.
Yeah, well, one of the things too is what are you doing with your name and your channel and your brand? And I think the question that you're kind of leading into with MCanning's assessment is what is your channel building toward, and are you happy with that direction that your channel is taking? Because I think there's the day-to-day feel of what does my stream feel like running now. The metrics thing is a really big psychological impact on a streamer. I had one of my toughest periods streaming StarCraft whenever Blizzard was really going hard on the War Chest promotion, and they were giving us a lot of spotlight, like putting us in the launcher. We were getting heaps of viewership, tons of support. People could get the War Chest from us, and for us financially, that was like ridiculously good. And
I
then
never got
after
a
that,
dollar of that. I never got a dollar of that. I
Me
think I
neither. Yeah.
yeah, I
yeah,
sold some, but I never got anything. But go on, sorry.
but the metrics for me there was a period where I was like, oh, I have ascended now, and I'm now 1,000 concurrent Twitch streamer, and
Yeah.
I started to self-identify as I've made it to the 1,000 viewership streamer, and I maintained that for a bit after the War Chest, but then like that gradual steady decline back down to kind of where I was before, that did not feel good at all.
No.
And it made me question, like, did I do something wrong? Did I not engage with this audience correctly to keep them coming back? But I would say not really. That was a spike that was afforded to me because people got incentives for having the channel open, and they were watching for the incentives with the War Chest. It wasn't that I want to be a Twitch viewer and I like watching the stream consistently. It's like I'm getting skins
Yeah.
and stuff unlocked with
It's like
this.
the drops and stuff in like Rocket League and shit. Yeah, you just kind of you're riding the
Yeah.
promotion from the game itself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So how did you
Yeah,
deal with that, Neuro?
I was pretty sad for a bit, and I kind of went back to the basics of thinking about, instead of the metric of just numbers, I thought about a person in their home who has a monitor or a TV, and they decide to watch you instead of the latest Netflix show or the latest like Amazon Prime shit,
Mm.
which is like really well polished. That's tons of production value. You've got A-list actors and that kind of thing. But they opened your StarCraft stream instead. And I tried to
Yeah.
focus on that choice, that someone chose to watch me ladder instead of that. And that seems really big. So if you focus on it from that aspect of each individual's choice to watch me playing StarCraft instead of watch Game of Thrones or whatever was popular at the time, I felt gratitude. So I guess gratitude for the individual who chooses to keep watching StarCraft instead of some other stuff. That made me feel a lot better. And I actually kind of got mad at myself once I made that realization of, man, like, I can't believe I'm whining about the situation that I'm in when I'm still getting by. I'm fine. Yes, it's a downswing for me with my metrics, but the individuals who have been supportive of me, they're still there. So I can stop complaining now and we can continue.
Yeah, I mean, I have an anecdotal story that goes along like in the same nature. I had the same kind of realization when like right post achievement hunt, we all got front page. I don't know if you remember that. Like they like were redoing how front page worked.
I
Did you
have
not?
been a Twitch partnered streamer for the last 9 years, and I have not been 1 second on the
Yeah.
front page, Mr. Cell.
Well,
But go
hold
on.
on. Let me. We'll get through this story. So like this is like so basically right after that, when they put everybody on the front page and shit. Who did the achievement hunt, and then Twitch kept those names. Like so when they were working, because it used to be that everyone that like got front page time got their scheduled, and then they switched to automated. And when they did that, they kept the names of the people who were already there. So my viewership went from like 120 or whatever to like 300, 400 all the time. And I was streaming at like really weird degen hours still. And I was riding this high for like a year and a half of having like sick viewer numbers. And then what happened was Polt came back and streamed directly on the time slot that I was on. And of course, like, you know, degen hours. Degen hours are great for like viewership. I actually love the people, but like your life is
What
a
are the
fucking
DJ hours? Just
like literally I would wake up at like 6 p.m.
yeah.
and stream from like 10 p.m. to like 6 a.m. I would like, you know, make my dinner / my wife's breakfast and pass out. Like you miss everything.
So 4 a.m. Europe till 10 a.m. Europe. Is that what we're
yeah,
talking?
something like that. So like
okay,
you'd
there's
have a lot of
literally no one on
Aussies.
Twitch then. It's a ghost city at that point, mate.
Yeah, it's a ghost city, but like the people that were there, like I loved them. Like, and there were like a lot of people. They're more degenerates than you think. People on night shift, a lot of Aussies.
Yeah, of
like
course.
you know that you know who I'm talking about. And I think MCanning and Neuro probably know because they're like streaming more in those hours, or at least have in the past.
Yep.
So when Polt did that, it knocked my viewership very slowly down from where I was at down to like 100 again. And like the front page wouldn't save me because everyone loved that guy too much. And I had to make that hard decision to switch time slots, like till I switched to the morning slot, like close to the morning slot that I was in now, and I took like a 50% viewership hit. So like I went down to start. I started again, like all that work, all those years to go and start again at 70 viewers and work my way back up. And the only reason that I made it was because of exactly what Neuro said. Like I loved the people more than I cared about any fucking thing else. Like I would have been a professional Lego building streamer before I quit because I didn't give a fuck about what I was doing. Like I love StarCraft 2, and I'm very fortunate that my brain is built to do the same thing over and over and over again. And I love how difficult StarCraft is. So with all the metas, it's never bothered me. Ever. Like I've never been like, fuck this game. You know what? I don't want to play anymore. Everyone complains to me and I'm like, all right, it's like I'm just gonna get a little bit better. All right, and we're just gonna play another game and I'll queue again. Right? And I just kept going. But the only reason that I did that really was because I care about the people. I care about the people that I'm making laugh. I care more about that than I care about anything else. And I'll do whatever the fuck I have to do to keep my job because
So,
it's what I like doing. Right? So it's
how
like
old are you right now, Sal?
30. Yeah.
Let's say you're 38 and you
Yeah.
still earn the exact same amount of money as you currently do. Would that bring you complete happiness, or would you want more in life?
I mean, listen, like it'll bring me happiness, but I wouldn't lie if I said that I'd probably be forced to quit, right? And probably not of my own volition. Because I'm a very stubborn motherfucker. Like, you know, you can't. I'm not that kind of guy. Like, if I think I'm right, and I think that I can work something through, I'm gonna, right. And then you're just like, I'll stream with like whatever number of viewers I need to if I think that I can work my way through it. But I'm also a smart guy, so like if I see that there's a trend that is gonna work, or I think that there's something worth working on, I'll do it, or I'll find someone to help me with it. Like I got an editor to do the YouTube shit, and I give him 30% of what very little we make right now. But you know, the YouTube's had like 200% growth, or 200x growth since we started, which is a big difference. Like, so it's all about taking the battles that you've got to take and doing what you got to do. But it depends. It all comes back to if it's what you want to do for its own worth, not for the other shit. Because like the numbers are going to reflect how much fun you're actually having eventually.
Of course.
Like,
I mean, I have something somewhat related, maybe a slightly different note, and I do think that's interesting to talk about. Like, I think it's always been very important whenever you stream that you have a goal. And I'm not talking about your daily donation goal of $30, because nobody really gives a rat's ass about that. But you got to enjoy yourself, and it always, I feel, at least to me, I always had the feeling that I'm working towards something, whether that's just a better future or like participating in a DreamHack event, whatever. And there was this time where I was obviously talking to you, Sal, and I was like, you know what? I've been streaming for 7-8 years now. I need to make my stream better. Okay, so I'm like, all right, first thing, like I'm gonna stream all this time, and I'm gonna fucking buy this fancy ass mic, and I'm gonna buy this audio box, and I'm gonna get a new computer, and I'm gonna get some lights. And I'm like, you know what? That camera is sick. I want to buy that camera too. You know what? Actually, I want the better camera, so I'm like just streaming all the time, and I'm fine, you know, because I'm like, I'm gonna get these cool Philips Hue lights, and I'm gonna improve, and it's gonna be fucking amazing. And I'm streaming every day because I know that I'm gonna take all that sub money at the end of the month when Twitch makes it over, and I'm gonna buy fancy shit, and I'm gonna love it. And at one moment, I had it all, and I'm like, I don't feel like fucking playing right now, man. It's really weird, but I was like, I am not in the mood to have people ask me why I build Phoenix every game, and I'm not in the mood to play 7 PvPs because I had no goal anymore.
But
I had
people
no
can
goal.
ask you why you build Phoenixes in HD.
Yeah, no, great. But I was pissed. But I'm sure that you guys have something somewhat. It's so easy when you're working towards something. Then I feel like you can take all the negative that Twitch brings with a smile on your face, and it's okay. But then when you feel like I have what I want, and now it's just time to sit down and do my job and answer questions on why Protoss has easier tools all day long, which wasn't a thing back then. Like it's kind of hard to get yourself to do it. And then if your sub count goes down or the viewership goes down, like all of that stuff definitely starts piling up, no?
Yeah. So like I've had a couple experiences like that. So so a couple times I've tried to go along with like Twitch trends. So like one of them was like when everyone was doing the IRL streaming. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was trying to do it. So I bought like a little portable mic and I bought like a bunch of stuff to do this IRL setup. I got it all together. And then like I'd go out and I absolutely found it incredibly boring. Like, and it was exactly the same experience. Like I put all this shit together, like I did all this stuff. I gave it the quality. I tried to give it the quality that like people would expect from me, and then I just thought it was the most boring shit ever. Or like I was doing like keyboard building streams, and for a little while it was a lot of fun. I bought like an overhead camera. I bought a nice zoom lens, spent $1,000 on it, like, and then it just was like, okay, listen, I'm literally soldering, like I'm doing solder joints for like 6 hours straight. Like this is the most boring shit. Like it's just not. It was just not fun, and it's like all the time I take like risks like that, and then it just wouldn't do, and it wouldn't be what I wanted, and you feel like ass about it. But I'm like I said, I'm fortunate with the SE2. Like I've never had that problem with StarCraft ever. I'm very lucky. A lot of people have burnt the fuck out of this game, and when you're burnt out, the Twitch chat starts to fucking get to you. And when
Absolutely.
Twitch chat gets to you, you've lost. Like, you've lost because now the things that you used to find funny, you find painful and offensive, and you're just the wrong mindset about everything.
Yeah,
And
100%.
so it wears down the wall very slowly, and then you start to snap. And then everyone gets upset because you're like, they think that you're mad. You didn't used to get mad. Like, what's wrong with you? Then there's a whole cascading thing. Right. So again, it has to stem from that place where you're happy with the very thing that you're doing in the first place. But Rotti,
Yeah,
your stream looks great now. Like I
know,
really,
and I'm
yeah,
having fun with the game. Don't worry. So I'm not like in
yeah.
an annoying spot. But for instance, Cell, like I think this is actually interesting because a long time ago I spoke with Cats, and Cats just DM'd me one day, and he's like, "How do you do it, man?" It's like you're just streaming all the freaking time. How are you in the mood to just play all the time? And the one thing I always had is that I always felt I never got as good as I thought I could be, just because I was always busy. And every time I got kind of good, I was traveling again, and I don't play for 3 weeks. So the moment I came home, I really felt I was on this 8-9 year journey of peaking. I'm like, I know I can get higher and more. I know I can do
Yeah.
better. I know I can do things I haven't done before. And then at one point, like I got up to almost 6,300 MMR on Europe, like incredibly high, obviously for someone like me. I was super proud of it. Literally one map away, one fight away from qualifying for DreamHack. And at that point, I kind of like, man, maybe I have peaked. And once you feel,
Oh,
you
no.
guys laugh.
Oh,
but
I know, like instantly. Oh yeah, the imposter syndrome hits. Like, do I belong here?
Yeah,
Like,
but like if that's your peak, that's okay. But from here on out, what am I playing for? Am I just playing every day to, be funny or do a trolley build? But that's not really who I am. Am I just streaming because I need to pay mortgage at the end of the month? Like that's obviously all fine, and it's not a life that I would ever complain about. But it was so much easier when I was on this never-ending upswing of I'm gonna make it to the top of that mountain, baby. But the moment you start going down, at least with my goal of always trying to get better, I really kind of struggled with that. And I wonder if you guys had a similar experience. Because I know, Sal, you are still pushing yourself. You know you can do better.
I'm
You're gonna
so
get.
stubborn. Like
Yeah.
I could be 50 years old, like, and I'm a stubborn guy. Like you think that I'm gonna let the chat and StarCraft 2 beat me? Oh fuck no, man. I'll fight just out of principle. Like I don't really care. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I notice is that when burnout hits and the decline starts, people think that it's like intrinsic, that it's like you've peaked. But the reality is that you need to take a break and then come back and keep going higher. Because like I don't think you peaked. I think that if you had just like taken a step back and like done some dedicated practice and turned it around and started again, I think it would have probably gone well. But the mental hit that the decline takes, and I know a lot about what declining feels like. Okay, I know a lot about what it feels like to hit a peak and then have everybody ask you why you're not as good as you used to be every day for 6 hours a day for like 2 fucking years. All right, until one of your friends.
My favorite is whenever you're facing an opponent on the ladder and they accuse you of being an imposter because your MMR is lower than they believe that person should be.
Bro! Or like somebody will come back because they haven't played in like a year and they're like, "Oh, you're still here?" It's like, "Fuck you, asshole!" Like, yes, I'm still here. Okay, you son of a bitch. Like, Fuck me, man. And you just, the thing is that you want to start being like, oh yeah, well, my stream's grown, blah, 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 you little shit. Like, let me tell you all my accomplishments. I dug a fucking hole, put a studio there, but that's what he wants. So you're just like, you just give him the good luck, have fun, and try and not get really fucking tilted. Yeah. No, but like, I know what that feels like, the decline. But like, what I've learned from the last, cause like, one day, one of my friends was like, I don't think you can do it.
He's still here is so good. Guy goes away from StarCraft for a year, hops on Burnouts, gets off StarCraft. What the fuck? You're still here?
People
It's
do that a
happened
lot.
like, bro, it's happened a lot. Like I
People
can't
always do
say, like
that.
I can say that I get that like once or twice, maybe 3 times a year. Like somebody who I know and I haven't seen, I know that they haven't played because I play all the time, and they hop on and they're like, "You again?" Like, hey, how come I can still play against you, man? Like I haven't played in months. And you're just like, oh, fuck you, you shit. God damn it. Yeah.
Yeah, you were making a next point. I'm sorry. I was just still
Yeah.
giggling,
Like
and I
one of
didn't-
my friends, like I was in Discord and I was talking about like improvement and stuff, and how like I was pulling the classic Twitch chat move where they're like, yeah, if I played more, I could be better, or like if I did blah blah. And my buddy just goes, he just kind of laughs with that nervous laugh, like he has something to say, and he's like, I don't think you could do it anymore. And this is a good friend, and he wasn't kidding. And I was like, oh shit, like you think that's actually true? Like you think that if he's like, the way he was trying to phrase it, like with my current way of playing, just grinding games, like I couldn't pull it off, and he was right. Like I had to actually chill on the number of hours I was streaming and do a dedicated hour of practice, like no chat, no friends, nothing. I had to study VODs, like I had to do a lot of shit to start improving, but now I'm actually getting better at the game, and I've been stuck at the same spot for years, and the main difference was playing less, like, and being more focused on like, okay, so like, why am I making these fucking mistakes? But like, I know what declining feels like because I hit like 5,400, and it's just been a very slow fucking decline until I realized that I was stuck because I treated it like a second-class citizen. Like getting better was something that was only there to make my stream bigger. Like I was fine playing at 4,800 because I didn't really care. I was just there to make people laugh. And
Yeah, there's
if
the
I wanted,
entertainer aspect where you still have
Yeah.
value of playing by streaming your games because it's funny,
Yeah.
and most people can learn from 4.8K games because the average skill level of a Twitch chatter is what, like silver to gold. You have a lot of really active diamond people who watch, but one point of improvement that isn't talked about that much is the collective improvement of the StarCraft scene and how the quality and the speed of games, like people's mechanics, the multitasking and all this, now compared to 4 years ago, it's faster, it's more intense. Compared to Wings of Liberty, Legacy of the Void is ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
So even if I would say someone is maintaining their rank, they're improving basically at the average rate of people at that MMR tier. But it doesn't feel like improvement because you're still kind of hovering in the same spot.
I agree with that. MCanning, Chris, to go back to you, as we started off with me listening to you TED Talk, of course. Do you think the fact that you had such an amazing run, I don't know if it was a DreamHack Masters and a Fall 2020, like obviously that was it, right? That was super lit. I don't think I've ever seen you more hyped. You couldn't stop smiling, even if you tried, and it was obviously rightfully so because you played your heart out. You had a sick run. You didn't just win, but you won with the sickest stuff, Mothership recalls into Scarlet's base, I believe, on the
Silky,
the-
but yeah, but it was the same.
Silky,
yeah,
on the
Scarlet,
Golden Wall. Like it really did feel. It must have felt that you were on top of the world at that point. You know, like life has never been better. But then obviously that run ends, right? And do you think that that's maybe something that plays a role in all of it too, or you think that's just a good memory or what?
No, I think it's mostly just a good memory. I mean, that's why it's kind of crazy to me that this most recent time I made it to playoffs again, which is basically what I did last time. So it's kind of a complete different fashion, but still, very exciting for me. And I think I'm kind of like like Sal and stuff here, where it's not like I'm at like a place where it's like I feel like I've peaked in the game or anything like that. Like I still enjoy playing and trying to get better because you always feel like you're trying to improve. But I think especially once you reach Grandmaster, I mean, even non-streamers can relate. Once you reach Grandmaster, you're in this weird threshold where it's really hard to actually go up in MMR. and you actually just stay in this range of MMR. You know, let's say you get to 5.6, but you're really between like 5.3 and 5.6, and you kind of stay in that range for for years, forever, basically. So it's gonna be really hard, mentally, just for even your average player, where you stay in the same MMR bracket for such a long period of time. It's fun when you're climbing up from gold to plat to diamond. Then you reach grandmaster, and it's like, well, it's hard to notice an improvement, even though you are improving. It's hard to notice that improvement. So that's why competing and stuff, and thank God for all the success I've had. It's been amazing, being able to get results. It's super hard as a streamer to get results. So I really am, it's crazy that I'm able to compete with some of the big dogs, and I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for just being there, and I really enjoy it. And it's one of the things that keeps me, energized for sure, because it's one of those, it's one of the only skill checks for you as a player sometimes, once you reach a certain level, where it's like, well, I'm just grinding the ladder. Am I actually improving? And it's so hard to tell sometimes, because you range so much on the ladder. You'll be 6K, you'll go down, you'll be 6K, you'll go down. That just fluctuates all the time. So
I feel like at some point you need to disconnect your accomplishments from ladder and start to look at tournament, right? Because there's like a separate. Well, yeah, because like the way that I see it is that like once you hit about like top 16, like that's it. There's nowhere to go. But there's like a whole other ladder, and that ladder is like the Aligulac ladder, like the ladder that exists outside of what you play in SC2 games. And there's a whole other skill set: how to play in series, when to cheese, what maps to veto, like who you want to, like who you're afraid of, whatever. So like, if I were in a position where I was like 6K, which is like I have a whole like roadmap for like getting better and like what I'm gonna do and like what my goals are before I just abandon that and become a content creator and just like whatever.
Right.
But after getting a certain MMR, like for me, the goal is like, okay, now I want to make round of 64 EPT NAs. I want to make round of whatever. I want to make round of whatever in like X span of time. As I feel like on ladder, like people, like some people just have your number, and like it's really hard to make progress. Or like somebody who's really, really good, like parting, will just farm you and knock you down. Every time you hit 5,600, you just get farmed, and now you're 5,300. Or like, you just hit the wrong person. And because at that level, it's possible to hit the same person 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
And they take your points 6 times in a row. Like it's just how it goes. So like, I think the disconnecting from the ladder and looking at like competing on a broader stage is the next step, which you do. But I mean, I think that to have your metrics for success still be attached to ladder when you're like excellent at the game. You can actually play and qualify for shit. Your goal should be to make it further and further and further there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm not trying to break an active goal. And as like, but like my, to like Chris Rotti was saying, like, he hit that level and then it was like maybe not as fun for a bit. I'm more on your side where that doesn't really impact me. The ladder always, I'm always feel like I'm, I mean, you're doing it for the stream as well, but I pretty much always enjoy the ladder more or less. Like, you go up, you go down. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So it's just me who peaked and got into the gutter. It's all good, guys. I see how we're treating each other.
But that was so hype when you did that. It was so hype when you were.
Yeah, I know, and that's why it's so like.
I
that's
still
what you
remember,
have.
like, didn't you do like a 24-hour stream and beat like TLO at the end and shit?
No,
Well,
that was a long time ago. Yeah, I did that too.
That was like a long time ago, but that was still like a.
That was hype too.
It was still like peaking, like Rotti peaking, like getting really close to like, like TLO was playing a lot back then. That was a big deal.
Yeah. That was 23 hours and 45 minutes in. I got TLO on Neon Violet Square, and I got him with some carriers and a cheeky Nexus in the top right side. I didn't have scouted. Yeah, that was great. Neuro, has this been important for you, that you always felt like the urge to improve? Because I know that you're obviously very good with words, and I think you inspire a lot of people to not just get better at StarCraft, but also just enjoy themselves and enjoy themselves on Twitch too. Is this personally important for you, the non-stop improvement, or do you not care too much about that kind of stuff?
I would say the improvement is something that can keep the fire going. It's one of the aspects. For me, my mission as a streamer is to help people with their mindset. So that is always there, regardless of whether I'm playing well or poorly. I would say one of the most valuable streams that I can do that feels gross for me is when I'm sleep deprived and I'm playing really bad and I'm losing almost all my games, and I don't balance wine, and I consistently take responsibility for all my losses, and I call out people. I say, don't you try to take that loss from me. I earned that with my own fuck ups. Thank you very much. Then I'll go through the replay very grumpily and I'll say, look at this adept. You see this adept killing 3 of my drones at the beginning? This is unacceptable. And I earned this loss with my poor decision making in micro. And that I think is the thing that is like my mat. If you're thinking about you're fighting with the ladder and your stream and stuff, and you have a really bad day and you hit the mat, I bounce back up because that's my purpose as a streamer. So that is something that is consistent, whether I have an upswing or a downswing. It's about helping people with their mindset. Currently, what I'm working on for improvement is ZVP. That's the matchup for me that's kicking my butt. I face more Protoss than Terran and Zerg by a pretty big margin, and it's my lowest win rate. So there's a lot to study about the matchup, though. I feel like ZVP for a Zerg it's kind of like a puzzle game, more so than ZVT or ZVZ. ZVZ, Pig described it very well. It's a knife fight in a phone booth. The person who's stabbing better with Lingbane and Roach is going to be getting ahead consistently. ZVT always feels very much like a mechanics war. The player with the better mechanics can oftentimes dominate the matchup over and over again. ZVP is like fighting a magician, where the magician has a hat and there's something in it. It could be a rabbit, it could be a cannon rush, it could be a proxy oracle, it could be DT drop, all these different things. And you really have to figure out, all right, what is going to happen here? How can I solve this puzzle? And mainly I'm looking for the clues of how to identify that it's going to be Void Rays. Is it going to be 2 Stargate Void Ray or Void Ray into 3rd? Is it going to be 1 Void Ray into a Zealot all in? I need to work on being a better detective. That's my thing. So yeah, improvement in StarCraft I feel like is a very rich and rewarding process, but it does feel kind of bad sometimes when you're basically coasting or you're maintaining the same MMR skill level and it doesn't feel like you've had any major breakthroughs. Streaming, I would say, is not performance enhancing. So if you want to be really doing work like Sal was saying, taking off-stream practice time, studying the game, that pays huge dividends in your mastery of the matchups. It's not as engaging and fun or entertaining for the viewers. So it's a tough balance. I get the question a lot in some variety of, why are you not better than you are? You've played this game for so long. Why are you not better than you are? When you as a streamer, you're there talking while you're playing. And I feel like people don't understand the mental like load of I'm playing the fastest, most intense 1v1 video game that exists, and I'm also running my mouth for your benefit so that you get entertained and you get informed about what's happening in this match.
But then Twitcher's like, well, what about Hero Marine? He streams all the time. Right?
Yeah, for me, it's Lambo's
top
better.
3 player in Europe who like, well, see the thing about Hero Marine, I've thought about this, and I had a conversation with Harston about this. Because he was like talking to me about why he's struggling to get like, I think he's struggling to get improvement, like because he's like streaming 5 hours a day, and he'd also practice off stream 3 hours a day. And it's funny because I stole that from him, but then I was like, I noticed that like streaming that much and practicing that much,
too much, by the way.
It's still too much. So he shortened his streams by a bit. And I was like, yeah, so when you're going up to tournament, I really feel like you should probably be focusing more on the off-stream practice. And I noticed for myself that off-stream practice cleaned up my micro, my macro a lot, even on stream. Because like streaming reinforces bad habits. Like if I'm making a particular mistake like over and over and over and over again, if I make that every game on stream, that's actually going to be how I handle that situation like most of the time. And playing off stream, I actually can iron those mistakes out, and then they translate back into my on stream games. Right? Like you have like kind of this dynamic where you eventually play too much on stream, and if you want to improve, you kind of have to play your best to be able to iron out the kinks. Right. And I find playing off stream boring. Like,
yeah, me too. It's so lonely.
I find it like because you're
lonely.
But it's so fucked up that your brain is going at like 1,000 miles an hour all the time, trying to keep up with chat and keep up with everything. And what I was getting to with Gabe is that Gabe will just put the mic down sometimes. Like he'll be streaming and he's like, all right, you know what? We've lost a couple games. Like he just puts the mic away and he's like, yeah, screw off guys in chat. Like I don't care. We're just gonna play. So he'll have that. Like he'll recognize when his mechanics are not where he wants, and so he'll play some real games where he tries, and I think that's how he keeps himself from like sliding off a cliff from streaming too much. He doesn't like prioritize shit talking the chat over anything else. He's playing his games, and if he feels like he's not doing good games, he'll do whatever he's got to do to get back on the track, and that's it.
Yeah, the
Right.
way that I try to weave that in is my Tuesdays are always no
yeah,
mic.
the samurai memes. Yeah.
Yeah, which is really fun for me because I get to actually be a player. I'm a StarCraft player now. I'm not explaining why I'm doing what I'm doing. I can see in the chat sometimes they'll peek. They'll be like, well, why didn't Neuro build this? I just love that I don't have to answer that question that day. I bask in that.
I'm actually the opposite. It would tilt me. I would
Yeah.
grab the microphone and explain them why I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
X, Y, and Z.
Can't let the Twitch chat win, man. They know, like they know. They're there every day. Like they know that it's time for some chill, like some StarCraft. And you're not supposed to be reading the chat. You know.
Yeah. I've never been a tryhard. Like Jason right now is doing like what 45 days of tryhard in a
Super
row.
tryhard. Dude, he's jumped 300 MMR in 2 days.
Yeah. I also don't know if I could
Protoss
do it.
or-
It's just
Yeah.
Protoss.
He's like 50, 55, 50, 56-ish now.
Yeah, it's
He
power
was
five.
like 5,200 when he started.
Yeah, but he's a 6K Terran. Come on.
Yeah, but he was stuck at 52 for a long. Like he kind of hit a wall where streaming and playing at the same time, like he wasn't making the progress. Because it all comes down to like eventually your knowledge hits a point, and then the mechanics have to be ironed out. And if they don't get ironed out, you're gonna just die to stupid shit all the time when you shouldn't. And so yeah, you got to take that time. Like you have to treat StarCraft like the thing it is. Like it requires mastery. It requires effort. It demands more from you than just like your average thing. And if you don't give it that, it will shit on you and make you feel really bad about yourself, like nonstop.
That's why I've always said like that's why whenever I have an interview or something at ESL, it's like one of the things I'm the most proud of because like you have your Hero Marines, you have your Hearthstones, and like those guys were pro players that also became streamers, right? But I started streaming when I was in Masters. Now I've made the ascension from a streamer, so I still call myself a semi-pro. I wouldn't call myself a pro or anything, but like
That's just because of the tools, man.
that's the tools. it is
tools.
Like, it's tough. It's tough to improve while you're streaming.
Yeah,
It
you've
is.
obviously gotten way better. Like that's not in question.
But it is.
It's not in question. But like it's all about if you want to take the next step. Like obviously at some point you've got to if you want to take a step above that. Right.
It's just trying to find that balance where it's like, do I really want to commit an extra 3 or 4 hours off stream, to StarCraft?
I don't think
at that point where it's like,
I think
too
1 or
much,
2.
guys.
Yeah, 3 is too much. Like I found 1 to be really clutch. Like I'll play an hour before bed, so all my mistakes are right there when I'm falling asleep. Like it's right fucking there.
Not sure if that's healthy or if that's what we recommend for happy
Dude, when you sleep on it, it's actually good. Like your brain works through the mistakes. It's like, okay, like we did this, and this. I'll wake up and I'll play the cleanest games of my life.
That ties into a really interesting assessment about playing video games off stream that are not StarCraft. StarCraft takes a different level of energy than most other activities. Like if you want to fire up some Hearthstone or some WoW or whatever, you can be like slooped over in your chair, like doing something else and being distracted and really tired, and you still perform more or less fine. Whereas if you really want to genuinely improve at StarCraft, you have your energy throughout the day. You want to put your like A game best energy that slot towards StarCraft, which is a big commitment.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Then maybe one final question before we wrap up our little chitty chat, and then obviously we get ready for the Q&A. If you guys like the Pylon Show, if you guys like Cobra, make sure to take a look underneath my stream. There is a Patreon badge. You can click on it. You can support us keeping the Pylon Show going over there, or just head over to ThePylonShow.com. But Cobra will tell you guys all about that. So my idea is we're gonna do one last little chitty chat, then we take a 2-3 minute break because I actually really have to go to the restroom, and then we'll get ready for the Patreon Q&A and this week in StarCraft. I don't want to keep you guys here for much longer than 3 hours. We're already 2 hours in. So my final thing is, did it have an impact for you guys as a streamer or just in the level of enjoyment you have of StarCraft 2 with how hands-off Blizzard has been of StarCraft for the last year and a half? We're obviously very happy with the EPT. It's fantastic that they announced a 3-year deal. It's super awesome that we have 3 years of Pro StarCraft to enjoy, keep people engaged, keep people around. But it does feel like we are, and I don't want to say like, oh, that game, because that's dumb. We have an amazing community. We have amazing streamers, pro players, casters, fans. Like StarCraft 2 is not going to go anywhere for a long time. But I'll be honest, I do feel like it sucks a little bit that it feels like we are just left behind. Like it's just us. Does this have any impact on you guys on how you view StarCraft 2 streaming as a job? Maybe start off with you, Sal.
I mean, it's given me a lot of good stand-up material. Like, I have a lot of bits about the Blizzard intern, man. Like, it's really done a lot for my career. I think that I have. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's irrelevant. I think the community just does, like the
Think it's
StarCraft
irrelevant?
community. It feels that way to me because the people I interact with on a day-to-day basis, like those people, are religiously StarCraft people, and they're even like they're religiously married to the race that they watch too. Like they're all like so like ingrained in what StarCraft is that they just won't move or budge for anything. So like Blizzard fucking off. Like as long as the servers are open and people are streaming, like I don't really know that it makes that big a difference. I
Okay.
personally don't like. I wasn't affected by it. Like I feel. I think it might be because I feel the game's in a pretty decent spot, the
No,
exception of
okay, the
Voiders.
game itself is good. Let me give you some examples. The other
Okay, go
day,
ahead. Yeah.
there is someone on the European server that's just part of Team Rotti, and he's representing Team Rotti. He's not actually in our Battle.net clan. I take a look at the members page, he's not there, but somehow he has that exact same tag as us. It's just like, apparently Blizzard doesn't care. Map hackers are not getting banned.
Yeah.
People that
Yeah.
say terrible things on Battle.net are not getting banned. Guys with 8,700 MMR are rank 1 Grandmaster League. All these little things, they make me sad, man, because it does make me feel like I'm starting to play a ultra abandoned game, and it doesn't make the game any less great, because it is still the greatest game ever made. We have an awesome community, but that kind of stuff, it definitely just
Oh,
wears out
that
on
kind
me.
of stuff is like super tilting. The map hackers are tilting. Like that, all that shit is like really tilting. But it's not something that I let like bother me too much. It's like it's one of those things where you could let it really take you down if you really thought about it enough, and it's just unhealthy, right? Like it's unhealthy to sit there and wallow about it because it's not going to get fixed. As soon as Blizzard made that post, like I realized that hoping for a balance change is just like throw it in the bin. Like hoping for this shit is just like a dangerous game because it's just not. You're just hoping for something that probably isn't gonna happen, and I'd rather just focus on the good shit instead. Like I think the community is still really happy. I think that there's still a lot of good shit that goes on in SE2. And I think as long as SE2 just survives for Frost Giant to make their shit, I'm gonna be pretty happy. You know? I don't know. I try not to look at it with a negative mindset because if I do, it's hard to get out of the rabbit hole, I think,
Mm-hmm.
on that. On a lot of that
MCanning?
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of agree with both of you, where it's, I just still enjoy the game, so it doesn't matter as much to me.
Mm.
But I think I definitely feel it with the map pool. I mean, apparently it's going to be
Oh
ironed
yeah.
out from here on till the next, forever. But I actually thought, that they were going to still give us a new map pool a couple months later, but still, still have to wait till the end of November for a new map pool. And it's like I don't even hate these maps, but it is pretty painful not having changes, keeping things fresh, and it's it is tough. The hackers. Hard to say how many people are actually hacking, but there definitely are hackers out there. But I never really think about it because then everyone thinks they play hacker all the time, so it's like I don't think
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
playing hackers. But yeah, it is a bit tough. Small things that aren't taken care of, and it's not nothing. I'm like, oh, this is the worst ever, but it is small things that can be annoying, but nothing that will make me be like, oh, I don't like StarCraft or I don't like the community. I mean, obviously the community is great, but it's like it's nothing major enough for me to be like this is brutal. But it is things that are. It's like, man, how can we not at least do this? It's not
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really does feel that if they would just get one or two people full time on the payroll, to like one listens to people in the community and the other one makes sure that it gets done, it feels like things could be so much better.
Bro,
Like we're not asking for the world, we're not asking for the international. Just like please have two people like actively working on the game. You guys joke about the intern, but I wish there was one
A
because I have the
second
feeling-
intern.
Maybe.
yeah. Well, I mean, man, they need all their money for lawyers right now, bro. Just it's that's what they need. That's what they're putting their funds towards.
Yeah, we
They
don't
can't.
know
They
how
can't
much
hire.
of that stuff was connected. From
No,
my perspective,
I don't. I mean, like in general, Blizzard. Not. Yeah.
yeah. The StarCraft dev team, when I was hanging out with them at like community summits and stuff, it seemed like they're hardworking people who have a legit passion for the game and they're trying to
Yeah.
get stuff going. It seemed like it was consistently a endorsement and funding from above them that was like no, we're not going to expand into this other stuff. There were a whole bunch of projects that they had in the pipeline for StarCraft 2 that would have been great for streamers that ended up not going through. So I think that side of it is pretty frustrating. I would agree that they left the game in a pretty good state overall. Void Ray memes, blah, blah, blah. It is called Legacy of the Void, so if that's an appropriate word, I would say. But yeah, I would also kind of take a different angle and say that I think Twitch also shouldn't forget that their roots are StarCraft. Like that was the game that really got people going to the website. Like you want to see a good StarCraft stream, you're going on Justin TV or Twitch. In some sense, when I would go to Twitch cons and things like that, it almost felt like I was a dinosaur. If I'm meeting other Twitch streamers and things like this, it's like, what do you stream? I'm a variety streamer. I stream Fortnite, I stream Apex, all these other things. Oh, you stream StarCraft? Oh, that game is way too fast for me. It kind of felt like you're put in this museum almost of like, oh, you still play that kind of game. But I love it. I would say that it's the best game that I've ever played, so I'm pretty happy.
I totally agree that it's the best game, but I still like. I do think that these little things can like. If you're on the tipping point or you're on the verge of like, do I really want to keep pushing this, or do I maybe start looking elsewhere? Like kind of what MCanning was struggling with. Then I think all these little things where it just feels that they don't give a damn, or at least not at the moment. Hopefully in the future. Like when you guys say we're never gonna get a balance patch, I actually do think we're gonna get that kind of stuff before the little stuff is fixed. I believe we'll get a new map pool, and I believe we'll even get a little balance patch. It won't be big, it won't be as major as in the past, but I believe that stuff will happen. They still patch Warcraft 3, and that's not because of Reforged. They were doing that even in 2015 when StarCraft 2 was at its glory days, or maybe a bit past already. But and Warcraft 3 was like, people still play Warcraft? Oh, yes, they do, and they get a new patch and things get changed. I think that stuff will get taken care of, but I would love the Battle.net experience because that is very important for all of us. Not just as streamer, not just as player, but for the casual player base out there. They need to have a pleasant and just normal experience on Battle.net. And if Battle.net is really bad and it's just weird and buggy and people do weird stuff all the time, I mean, that's really going to push people away from the game. And that personally makes me feel very bad, even as a streamer.
Yeah, agree.
And yet, somehow, we soldier on.
Of course we do, because what
I
other
couldn't play
choice do
anything
we
else.
have?
Yeah.
Nothing gives you the satisfying feeling like winning a StarCraft match against someone at or above your level. Change my mind.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
For
When
myself,
you get the
that's true.
victory you don't expect, you're like, oh my god, I just got him. That's so good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Sal is the grubby slayer now. I saw that.
I won one game. I lost the game. Well, you missed the first time I played him, but I did win the second one. I felt okay about it. Yeah.
My nemesis for NA ladder is 4GG. He's like way better than most people who queue on NA, and I get him pretty often. And I lose almost every time, but it's worth the like one time out of 20 that I win. And that's like instant YouTube video. I feel like ridiculously strong.
Shameless.
Getting
That's how it's done.
YouTube.
That's how it's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Chris, do you have
Yeah.
any final words on it, or maybe your feelings overall at the moment?
Just on Blizzard or just streaming?
Just on yourself, Chris. Talk about yourself.
No, I have no real final thoughts. I think I said most of what I am feeling, and
So how does the life of MCanning look in 6 months from now?
It looks the same that it did 6 years ago. You're looking at it, dude. Look at that webcam.
it's hard to say. I don't think I really don't know. I mean, it depends how my next few months go. I would say. It's not one of those things that I'm down about it or anything or negative. But I think I'm at that point where it is like, I'm at the crossroads, and I'm not sure exactly which direction I will take. So 6 months, probably will still be here. I mean, I don't think I'll ever really go away, but yeah, who knows? Who knows what the future holds, I suppose.
We can go on without the can.
That'd be a loss.
Yeah.
That'd be a proper loss.
All right, guys. Let's go ahead and take a little 2-minute break so we can all get some water, go to the restroom, and then we'll fire up the Patreon Q&A. So if you guys have any questions right now, make sure to head over to the Pylon Show Discord. Cobra can give you guys all the instructions. And obviously, we'll take a look at this week in StarCraft 2, where we have a couple of updates of you guys of the great community stuff that has been happening. We'll see you in 2 minutes. All right, guys. Sorry, we are back. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the community stuff that has taken place in this week in StarCraft. We've got 2 pages for you guys with some fun information. SaL, Neuro, MCanning. If anything stands out, please speak up. help me through us. So this week in Brood War, apparently a lot of crazy stuff happened. Storm Cup happened, and I know that somebody also played a best of 25. Yeah, that's at the bottom. The battle for ire between the World and Bonith. It's currently 9-6 in favor of one player. Did you guys ever participate in a crazy best of series?
No way. I couldn't do it. No way.
Yeah, Jason challenged me to a best of 69 once, and he said that I wouldn't be able to win 2 games. We got about 10 games in. I won 1, and he was like, "Oh, okay," and then he stopped. He quit. Yeah, he was. He was like, "Oh shit! All right, I can actually lose."
I think I'd get too triggered if I was in a best of 69. I was getting farmed. You know?
Oh,
If you lose, like
yeah.
4 or
Oh, dude,
5 in a
that's the
row.
worst.
It's like,
Yeah,
why am I
yeah.
playing this, man? Just why?
Apparently,
This
the
makes me wanna-
Sniper StarCraft League Cup took place. Sorry, Neuro, go ahead.
This makes me want to challenge Sal to a best of something.
I would watch that.
Me too.
Well, all your games
That's
would
it.
be so long. It would be the
Holy
longest
shit!
best of 69.
Yeah, the streamer invitational was any
I
like-
watched that invitation. That was fun.
Yeah, that was good. If that was any indication, then they still haven't put it on Eligulac. I'm super triggered.
You just message the guy who put it on.
Yeah.
What do you
okay,
think about
alright.
doing a best of 27?
Best of 27? Oh.
It doesn't have to
Yeah,
be all
you
in
know
one
what?
sitting.
Like, listen. I'm not gonna be a bitch. I'll say yeah. I'll play it. I'm down.
I'll cast it.
Dang.
All right. I'll do it.
You actually want to cast Rotti? No, you don't want
Absolutely.
Oh,
100%.
Rotti's a machine, bro. What the fuck are you saying?
Rotti,
of course.
he is the namesake for the Iron Rotti stream, which was a
Yeah.
24-hour stream of only StarCraft ladder.
I did that, and I called it the Iron. I kept the Iron Rotti name. That was a while ago, though. I haven't done a 24-hour stream in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the real 24-hour streams, guys. Not
Yeah.
sleeping or sitting in a bathtub. Like, no,
Fuck that
24
shit.
hours.
I did. Well, that was before I did 24-hour stream before my big YouTube swing. So like I did a similar Iron Man, and I remember like once you get to like I was like honestly the first like 20 hours for me was like fine. I was like, dude, I could do another 24-hour stream, and then like the hour 22 to 24 made me never want to do it again. I was just like, I don't know. It was just like the last
hours-
stretch is like
For me, it was hours 20 to 22. Like those 2 hours where you're like half slumped, like your eyes feel like shit. Then I find like the last 2 are like, oh, we're getting close. This is gonna be fine.
Yeah, you
But
can
I
see the finish line the last hour. It feels
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
it's
you can
the
see you're like so close. I remember though doing that that ladder session, and I rated Rotti. Right after. And
Mhm.
he was like, "So what was your score?" I was like, "Oh, I went 50 and 50." And he's like, "You didn't play enough games, man. Are you sure? Are you sure you played those?" And I was like, "Man, like I'm a Terran who plays macro games. Like, what do you want from me?"
All right.
I did my
Anyway,
best.
that was some of the Brood War stuff that has taken place. Obviously, it's awesome to see Brood War still thriving. We know that Dan and Nick are also doing the ASL. I believe Cobra is helping out with that a little bit too. So make sure to check that out. Shout out to the Brood War community. Let's go ahead and take a
Update on
look
that
at-
is Group A is about soon, and we're working on Group B for ASL.
There you have it, guys. Group A is out soon, and they're working on Group B. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the feisty StarCraft 2 stuff that happened that is not the DreamHack Masters or Asus ROG or the GSL or the European Pro or the ESL Pro Tour Weekly. We've got some fun community stuff, I believe. There's so much StarCraft happening, guys. I feel like people
There's
just
a
can't
lot
get
of
enough.
SD, man. It actually is.
We're streaming all day, every day. Everyone's running their own tournaments, the pros. There's the big tournaments, there's the somewhat big tournaments. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Oh, that's the same page. I think we have a different page. Is that correct? was-
Try and
Cobra is currently still traveling, guys. That man has been all over the East Coast of the United States, and that's why we also had to move the slot around a little bit because not
Ah,
everything worked. I believe he's currently doing this from ghetto Wi-Fi somewhere outside of a motel. You know, he's leeching it, guys. He didn't pay for it, so the slides come in a little slow, but he's doing his best.
actually, I don't know that we have another one. There's just the ESL Open Cups, and then GSL, ASL, ROG, and that one. That's
Okay.
all I got at the moment. I saw it unless
Well-
I'm missing something. Message me.
No, if this is all there is, then this is all there is. Cool. Then we can get ready for our Patreon Q&A. I'm sure Fear Dragon has got a feisty question for us. He's got a great question every single week, guys.
Oh, right.
It's like I almost look forward to this. And I'm sure that you guys will have some fun with the Patreon
Almost.
Q&A. Do we have some lovely questions, Cobra?
Yeah, pulling those up right now.
Fantastic. So how's life on the East Coast, Cobra?
Busy. I miss home. Miss my own bed. Miss the 2 gig internet connection.
You know, Sal, what I was talking about earlier, I was wondering if you had a similar experience, because I know you worked incredibly hard to getting your bunker up and running, and then you fine-tuned your bunker, and you designed it exactly to the way that you wanted it to have. And then once you sit down, were you just like always ready to go full at it? Or were you like, now I have it? And
Dude, I
what's
get
the
an
next
immense
step?
satisfaction from sitting in a room I built with my own 2 hands, man. Like it's one of those like every day feels, I don't know, it feels very like professional, and it feels very satisfying. Like,
Tom
you
Hanks
know,
Castaway making fire. Look
the
what
Twitch
I have
chat
created!
Twitch chat can't take that away from me. Like, they can't take it away. I'm sitting in it. There's no way for them to take it. So yeah, no, it's amazing. There's like there's a lot of stuff that sometimes you question, like whether or not it was like worth it, or whether or not like what you're gonna do. But like building this room was very worth it. Like,
Mm.
I'm very afraid of when I have to eventually leave here, and how the fuck I'm going to top this, because I don't
Oh,
know if it's ever gonna happen, man.
hopefully you don't, at least not anytime soon.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I think I
guys,
got a
these
couple
questions
years.
are for all of us. Big shout out to everyone that's still supporting the Pylon Show over at Patreon. If you want to do that, make sure to head over to patreon.thepylonshow.com, or just click on that beautiful Patreon badge underneath my stream over at twitch.tv/RotterdamZero8. First question is by Alleluia TV. Who is your favorite StarCraft character and why? For the Swarm, long live the Queen of Blades. MCanning, favorite character and why?
Like character, like unit, or like a person in the game.
You see the same question as I do, my friend.
Well, he chose the Queen of Blades, so character from the story, I'm guessing.
Mm.
I guess Raynor, because sometimes people say I look like the guy from the Raynor from Brood War.
Yeah, the original Raynor. You actually
Yeah.
do kind of look like him.
Yeah, we both
That's
love
true.
Kerrigan or hate Kerrigan. I don't know. Who knows the story?
Both.
So,
Having played a lot of co-op, I'm now very familiar with their voice lines. So I'm gonna have to say Alarak because he's a cheeky bastard, or Stetman because he's on meth and he's hilarious. Like, I don't know if you've heard those two, but they're fucking funny. Like the voice lines, like the voice actors had a time and a half playing those two characters. Is really funny. It's really funny. It's really good.
Neuro?
Abathur,
Ooh.
prudent,
Ooh, nice.
wise,
Damn.
no ego, focused on improvement of the swarm and adapting to circumstances.
What
How do you
voice
do
mod
that?
is that? That's Stream Deck, right? Or is it
No.
different?
It's the Yamaha mixer.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Cobra showed me that trick.
That's sick.
Actually amazing. I'll go for Zero too, guys. I don't know why.
Ah,
I just
he's
thought he
dope.
looked really cool when he jumped off the thing and he swung his blade around. I'm not a story guy, but I do think that looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Next question. Optional player. 2 weeks ago, an oversaturation of SE2 is great for players, but what about the viewers? USL plus Pylon Show is 10 hours a week for me, not including ASL. DreamHack can add 20 plus hours. I work 40 hours. Too much to follow. A good problem, I guess. I watch USL because timing, but I can't keep up with DreamHack. Send help, please. Very reasonable question, and we did kind of touch up on that. But MCanning, how would you answer this question?
I just think I feel like if you actually had less where you could quote unquote follow it, it would actually just feel like you don't have much at all. Because then it's like, oh, you just have this one tournament you're following. So it's a tough question because this guy's trying to follow literally everything. But I also think if you want to watch everything, that'd be tough to do. But it'd be tough to do for anyone following anything that many hours. So I think there's enough to follow, and it's not that overwhelming as it maybe is seemed here, in my opinion. Unless you want to watch literally every match ever played, then yeah, that's going to be tough.
Would kind of echo Sal's point earlier about Terran loyalists and how usually people have their niche of what they like within StarCraft content. They don't watch all StarCraft content that exists. So for me, like if GSL is on and it's a group of only Terran and Protoss, it's not going to help me. So I'll
Yeah.
more selectively look for, okay, these are the Zergs that I can learn from and
Right.
see what people are doing.
I'm in the same camp. Like if
Yeah.
it's yeah.
I know there are good websites with VODs where you can find everything, and there's technically always a way to find the right video that you're looking for on the YouTube channel of DreamHack or ESL or the Twitch channel. But in a dream world, I do kind of wish that you just had StarCraft2.com/esports, and there you had like every league, and you click on it, and then like the player, and then you have the most recent 7 games gets uploaded 30 minutes after they play. I do think that'd be really sick because we know where to find everything, but it's not that easy for people to be like, all right, Sarah played in Group D of DreamHack. Where do I find it, right? But the thing is with all of this stuff is that it costs time and money, and that doesn't seem to be something that there is really an overflow of when it comes to either ESL or DreamHack at that point, or
I feel like
Blizzard,
that's
of
something
course.
that Liquipedia could build and actually do, and it wouldn't even
In
be
a way,
that,
they do it.
that
There is
bad.
that little
Yeah.
TV, but yeah, then you have to go through Liquipedia,
Yeah.
and that is obviously already difficult to explain for people that maybe just want to watch a little bit of StarCraft. There should be a better way, but it just never happened, and I think now it's officially too late. I guess my answer is, mate, that yes, there is a lot of StarCraft, but you don't need to watch everything. I would say look at certain days, look at the days that stand out, look at the players that you love, look at the races or the matchups you enjoy the most. Just watch a bit and then just make damn sure you shoot in for the playoffs. The playoffs is really not that much to watch, and you don't have to watch everything in 1 week. You can also watch it in 2 weeks, but playoffs are dope, playoffs are hype, and it's also not 20 hours because you can obviously kind of skip the pre-show if you want, or you can skip the commercial breaks, the post-show. Then it shouldn't be that overwhelming, like MCanning said. Thomas Clint asked us, do you feel the rivalry between NA and EU is healthy, unhealthy for the SC2 community? MCanning, as the front runner of NA StarCraft, the face of NA StarCraft, what is your take on this question?
I think it's fine. I mean, I think it's you just always support your own region. So the Europe guys like to razz the NA guys. The NA guys want to razz the Europe guys. I think it's fine. I mean, the stuff I don't really like. I mean, the specific rivalry, having banter back and forth is fine. I don't really like when like casters are like, oh, now we're playing NA. You can expect the quality to be terrible. Like, that doesn't really happen much. But not, and it wouldn't be phrased like that. I'm exaggerating, but like, sometimes I don't like how NA is seen as this. Things get weird in NA. Yes, I'll give you that. But sometimes I don't like how sometimes NA is seen as this like terrible entity. But I mean, the rivalry
population in EU is greater as well, which is a pretty big factor. Which means the overall MMR in contention is more numerous. You can earn more MMR in EU server. One thing that's really funny, that's kind of a point of memes for me, is the attitude of, you'll have some EU players who they're legit a cut above what you would find on the NA server, and that's a fact. You could demonstrate that. They can go in NA and kick ass. But that will trickle down to the viewers, where the viewers who are in Platinum and Diamond will kind of fancy themselves an NAGM just by association of that. Like, I play on this server, so therefore that makes me better. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think a healthy rivalry is fun, and yeah, I don't know. I don't have an issue with it.
As someone who's moved to EU, like I'm an EU player now. I have to say EU greater than NA. NA sucks, right? EU better than all. And yeah, our platinums are your GMs.
Wow.
He's working that Europe audience right now. Smart man.
They got him.
Yeah, I've moved, man. I'm done.
He's like, if I go live 10 a.m. my time, that's a good time in the afternoon for the Europeans. Neuro just made an excellent point about the European population being a bit bigger, more StarCraft 2 players.
Yeah.
SaL's working his magic now. I see how it is. Now, I think a fun rivalry is always good. I don't think anyone should have an issue with it.
No, that's good.
Next up, a question from Hyper Turtle. Do you have any tips for standing out as a StarCraft 2 content creator? Have you had to get more creative due to the absence of new in-game content? I think we kind of touched upon this, but Neuro, why don't you go ahead and answer this question first?
Standing out as a creator, you have to put in the hours. I think a lot of people, they get stuck in the Starbucks coffee mindset where they want to think about like the coolest idea for what their stream could be. And they keep asking many, many people this question of like, what do I need to do to grow? My strat was just brute force with the stream of when I had no partnership, nothing like that. My goal was to put in more hours than every other StarCraft streamer. So that was my edge. You have to think about, compared to the other StarCraft streams that are live, what do I bring to the broadcast that they're not bringing to the broadcast? Because you do have competition. I would say for the StarCraft community, we have a much better culture of hosting and rating other channels. than many other games do. You'll see some Dota streamers and they'll ask, well, why don't you host other Dota streams? And they'll say, well, I don't want to support another business I compete with. The StarCraft scene, we don't think like that. We think I want to help other people grow and we're all kind of part of the same team. So for that, the StarCraft scene is definitely one of the best communities to grow in because we have a culture of hosting. You end the stream and you're looking through the StarCraft directory or people you follow and you give them a raid or a host. So you got to put in lots of hours and you got to do something that other people aren't doing.
I like what you said, but I also think that maybe could create an unhealthy environment for all of us, where if you try to outwork me, but I try to outwork you, we're gonna run each other into the ground.
Yeah, man. So you should just stream 2 hours a day, and that's that's good. It's healthy, you know. I swear I'll do it too. I'm just gonna, just ignore the 8-hour streams every day.
I miss where you were going with this, but I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's true. I think that there's like a balance between a healthy viewer number, like a hour streamed, and actually like, I think there's Ravi and I got in this argument a long time ago where he was saying that he thinks that there's diminishing returns for streaming more than like 5 hours. And I
Yes.
fought him tooth and nail on that. And I this year I conceded. I think it's true. I think that once you hit about 5 hours, like the quality, because StarCraft 2 takes so much out of you, like the ability for you to stream longer than that and maintain, like, and not let the game get to you and not let everything get to you and shit like that. It's better to do it in like almost in 2 parts, or do like some other content creation on the side. And like a 5-hour stream is like a really nice number, maybe 6. Like it really depends on how you feel, but you know what I mean. Like there's a balance to be found there, where it's like pleasant and like you're making good content. But yeah, consistency doesn't necessarily mean hour stream. But I used to agree with, I agree with Neuro. Like if you've got the energy for it and you've got the drive for it, numbers on Twitch, numbers is the way to win. And Twitch is designed that way. It's designed for you're basically a billboard for yourself. So like the longer that you're there, the more people that will see your ad, which is you advertising for yourself, and the more people that you will keep like with you. And Twitch is meant to be that way, right? Whereas like something like YouTube is like, hey, like I put out this like YouTube video, and then that is what attracts people. It attracts people when you're not live. It attracts people when you're not there. It's a completely different thing. So I used to stream like 10, 12 hours every day, but I feel like the streams were worse, and I think the streams are better now. And I optimize more for what I think a good stream is, what a funny stream is, what's making people laugh, like. Trying to figure out not just quantity, but like figuring out what quality means to me and optimizing for that. Right? It's different for everybody. Some people just love the hours put in. Maybe they talk less to chat and so they can stream 10 hours a day, and that's not something that bothers them. But for me, like I interact a lot with chat, and I feel like that goes off a cliff after about hour 5, somewhere in there.
You do have like a steady decline of the intensity of your stream the longer that you go. That was a comment that I got. I don't do these huge like 14-hour streams anymore. That was like arc 1 of Neuro when I was getting started. And I got comments from people that were like, that your energy level and stuff falls off pretty hard, like at like hour 11, right?
Yeah, I always felt like it was doing damage at some point. Like if you're so like I felt this way. Like if I was in a bad mood, some days I just wouldn't stream. And like a lot of people don't have that, like that leisure in life with work. But that my rationale was like, if I stream and I start yelling at every person who I call everyone an idiot, where I used to like laugh with them, like that's worse. It's worse for me to go live and get angry irrationally than it is for me. Like I'm better off just doing something else productive than like going live in a bad state of mind, right? So
this is then not totally relevant to the question, but do you guys also have this where you do have one of these days where you maybe push yourself a bit too hard, or you're unsure if you shouldn't stream, you streamed anyway, and you just did a bad job? Like you got angry at people that, like you said, normally you would chuckle about how silly it is, and now you're calling them an idiot and you're banning people. I get sad afterwards if I have a 4-hour stream like this where I just know I played bad, I was in a bad mood, I wasn't nice, I was mean. Like it actually haunts me for the rest of the day. I'm just like, man, why am I doing this? Like this was just a lose across the board in every single regard of life, and actually
Dude,
kind of hard to deal with, I think.
literally just the other day, I was streaming and I was like kind of approaching the end of stream and I was like kind of mad and some people were having an argument in the Twitch chat and I looked down, I read a line, I took it a little bit out of context and I just fucking reamed the guy out. Then I went and I was like, and then as the chat went on, it was clear that the guy wasn't like being as obnoxious as I thought, and he was like apologizing to me. And I felt really bad about it. So I went to the gym, and it just kept eating away at the back of my head. I DM'd him. I was like, listen, man, I'm sorry, I was being an asshole. Like I had to. Sometimes that shit stays with you, man. Like you want to let it go. And you want to be like, well, just fuck them, like whatever, like it's just another day in Twitch chat. But no, sometimes I take it a little bit, like I take it personally. I take what I do seriously, and I feel like, if I come off bad, I want to fix it if I can.
Rotti, your question is kind of pointing to one of the most intense difficulties of streaming that most people don't realize, which is you can't loaf when the boss isn't over your shoulder. There are a lot of different jobs where maybe it's a slow day at work, maybe you feel like crap, but that doesn't really matter as much for your pay at the end of the day and the results of your work. Like you can kind of sneak by with half-ass in it. If you half-ass your StarCraft ladder, you get your ass kicked consistently. And then that is tilting, and then it kind of snowballs from there. So it's a very different level of scrutiny where every single mistake that you make is visible to tens or hundreds or thousands of people, and it's recorded. That's a level of pressure that I think a lot of people don't realize exists in streaming.
Chris?
I agree with everything everyone said, pretty much.
I mean,
Nothing to
you're
add.
with
You have
some
no
very wise people on
you
the
have no
call, so-
anecdotes? Come on, man. You never told some dude in chat who was like, "Why do you build disruptors?"
Yeah,
every day?"
yeah,
You're like,
I mean-
shut up, idiot.
Of course,
Fuck!
I just agree with you guys. I mean, sometimes you'll see someone's commenting the wrong way. They're maybe not being annoying. Maybe they are being annoying. You're on a losing streak. You're in a bad mood. I mean, that's just the streamer grind, man. Yeah.
And I guess how you can stand out, I think we already kind of covered that, and we spoke a little bit about it the other weeks. It's just you have to do stuff, or you can dress up in full American outfits and make funny videos on Twitter. I love how much you love that video that you made fun of me for. Like, I saw you watching it again the other day on your own stream.
It was the first time I brought it up in like 3 years now. Lexius has mentioned it here,
Yeah.
so it was funny.
Why did it have to be me? I was like, I don't know.
Well, I
If
wasn't
like
trying
it-
to make fun of just you. It was just like everyone, but like you just came to my mouth, and I was mentioning a fan that.
Oh, like this fucker. All right. Well, there's obviously many ways to stand out, but I think we will all agree that the most important thing is that you feel comfortable and have fun with what you're doing. I have obviously over the last 8-9 years that I streamed all this time, there have been many things that I felt like could have worked short term, but I just didn't feel good about it. Then I didn't want to do it. Maybe it would have made me stand out, but it wouldn't make me happy. I like what Robert Whittaker said, a UFC fighter, where he said that I'd rather be a bricklayer and myself than be a millionaire and someone else. And I think that's an
That's a
awesome,
good line.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a good line.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good.
I think that goes for a lot of stuff on Twitch too. Like a lot of things work awesome. Even just playing different games. But if I like that game a lot less than I like StarCraft, then who really gives a damn? Anyway, moving on. Thank you very much, HyperTurtle, for your question. Next up is Polly. What was your funniest tournament you've ever played in? What happened? Rotti, please also answer if you want, of course. Do my best. MCanning, funniest tournament.
Funniest tournament.
Funniest.
Well, the funniest was probably when I played it was like a four, only like 4 people signed up. It was a Creighton Olsen tournament, and it was a random only. You had to play random, and then I don't know, maybe it was like 8 people signed up. But I was being chirped by No Regret in the chat before the thing. He's like, "Wait, how is MCanning seated higher than me? Just some random ass tournament." And I was like, "What? Like, is he serious?" But then he like doubled down on it. He like came in my chat and was like chirping me about it, and I was like, "What is happening? Like, it's just some random tournament." So that was probably what, I don't know. So being chirped in some random like 4-player random only tournament about seeding by No Regret.
That's
So-
classic.
Yeah.
Sal?
Oh, I don't know, man. When I sign up to tournaments, it's like, can I make it out a round? And in what embarrassing fashion am I gonna lose? To like, oh, I have a actually, okay, I have a decent one. Do you know what NYK?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. He was like, every time we would play on ladder, he was consistently 500 MR better than me. Every time we meet in tournament, he loses. without question. Like we'd show up at LAN back when there were LANs, and he would just like die like 2-1 or 2-0. And like the most like really one-sided games, and he's just like, what the fuck, man? Like when we play on ladder, it's not close. He beats me every time. It's not close. And then we would play in actual LANs, and he would lose. It was great. It was actually like you get kind of tilted about it. But that's about it. That's all I got.
The environment for playing in tournaments is pretty different.
Yeah, for sure.
Funniest
Yeah,
one
let
that
me-
I was in, Able Gamers tournament. So it's a fundraising tournament for adaptive gamers, and everyone who competes in this tournament has to have some limitation on their play. Some people were playing with mittens on. Some people were playing with like a big like piece of
Nice.
paper over part of the screen that you couldn't see it. I played all the way zoomed in. That was hilarious. Like seeing the Ling Bane fights fully zoomed in where you can't see units until they're like right on top of your stuff. That was hilarious. They do that
That's a
every year.
great, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Daw hosts that.
All zoomed in.
Mhm.
I mean, I played in one Creighton Olsen all random tournament, and I actually had the time of my life. And I don't think random tournaments are a great idea because it really is actually so freaking random, where often the result is already determined in
Yeah.
the loading screen, and the strategy is like it sounds great on paper, but it's never really that great. But on that day, it was great for me. I got a lot of protos, so I got far, and then in semifinal I played this other guy called I think it was Art or Zeomac, and I got Terran, and I'm so bad with Terran, and I had no idea what to do. But basically, my strategy was so bad that he was convinced I was doing something else. And suddenly I hit him with a double drop in the main, and I stim into the natural, pure marine medevac, and I was on top of the world. I got Goblin in the grand final. First game, I'm like, Protoss. Bam, I got Protoss. I'm like, hell yeah, he's Terran. Second game, I'm like, Protoss. I got Protoss again. He gets Zerg. 2-0 Goblin in the finals. I'm the champ. So yeah, that was
that's
pretty
fun.
amazing.
Yeah, I think in that tournament that I had, I lost like 2-3 to Scarlet or something random because it was like, everyone's random, and I was like, yeah, it's just fun, You're like, oh my god, please, give me a good matchup.
Yeah. I mean, it is fun, but it's something you definitely don't want to overdo, and also
Yeah.
you shouldn't take it too serious because obviously a lot of things get decided in the loading screen. Something else that I think maybe is somewhat funny. It's like these days in esports, we always try to like calculate costs and is everything worth it, right? And when players travel to an event, you want to make sure that their experience is good. The very first tournament I ever qualified for, an international tournament that is, was Acon 5 in China. That's like that little thing is there towards the wall. I got a little participation trophy. But it's actually kind of funny that people from all over the world flew to China to play 2 best of ones. And if you lost both best of ones, you were out. It was a best of one double elimination tournament. That's actually kind of mental when you think about it. Like, I flew from the Netherlands to China to potentially play 2 games of 9 minutes of Warcraft 3. Fortunately, I won a couple rounds, but when I look back at it, I'm like, man, that's wild.
Well, there was that StarCraft IEM that was like, I remember like people like I think Pilly and Panda and me, they flew out and like it was either $7,000 or $0. They flew out to I think Katowice and they lost the first round. They got $0.
Yeah, brutal.
They changed it though now, but
Yeah, that was the Katowice that pulled one in the grand final, right?
I don't remember. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Round of 32, best of 5, or even best of 7. Winner moves on to the main tournament, gets 7K. Loser gets 0.
Yep.
Jeez. Yeah. I mean, it's funny if you win.
It's a long flight home if you lose.
Hell yeah. All right, moving on. Thank you very much for your question, Polly. Next question is by our lovely Alexander. MCanning, it's been a while. I'm looking forward to your next nationwide video announcement with competition from noted North Americans Zest, Pure, and MaxPax. What is your plan? Rotti, Neuro, and SaL, how can you help MCanning to lead Team USA to victory? SaL, can you recommend him an outdoors camera for him?
I mean, yeah, but I imagine he's gonna take a really long USB cable in his like C920 and go outside and shoot it with that.
Yeah, Alexander forgot to include Cyril as part of Team USA, but
Right.
It is a shame that Nation Wars hasn't happened because, making those videos and like some of the memories I have making those videos with my brother and my friend, like, those are fun. Those are fun memories for me, just making those videos. And it's fun doing stuff like that, outside of the game, just like meme crap like that. Like, that's fun.
Are they gonna do another one? Do you know?
I don't think so.
That will never happen by O Gaming. It's very simple. O Gaming got paid a crap ton of money by Blizzard to run that tournament, and it was a very expensive tournament. Because I can tell you guys that in any event I've ever worked, I didn't get paid as much as Nation was. And that's not because my daily rate was so high. It's that I had so many damn days, right? It was like 22 days in a row. So, obviously that adds up. It was an insane amount of cost, but Blizzard just paid basically all of it. It was a lot of war chest money. If that's not happening, they will never run that because it's way too expensive. Now, of course, we can run our own. And that's kind of, I feel like, the life that we're living right now in StarCraft 2. And maybe if Wardy ever has a couple free months in his agenda, or anyone else, Take TV, for instance, if we are going to get another Nation War, it's going to be a lot more community driven because it cannot be done in the same way as it was done before.
Yeah.
We carry this game on our own backs.
Nothing else, guys?
No.
All right. Thank you, Alexander. Captain Hoppa.
This question.
Were there any bad habits or mechanical problems that you had to unlearn as a player? What was the most challenging and what was the process like? It's funny because I saw the video, Neuro, of you listening to UpATreeZelda about just recently using rapid fire for his skills. I don't know if you know this about me, but I do not use camera hotkeys. I have never changed the hotkey in my life. I don't use rapid fire. The only thing I ever changed in StarCraft 2 is that I can select enemy units. That is the only change I've ever made with the way that it comes out of the box.
You don't have like an
use
all
rapid fire?
I don't use rapid fire.
Oh, you're living a Half-Life.
Wait, you
buddy.
don't have like an alt hotkey like 9 or 8 is like spacebar or tilde?
No, I have changed nothing, MCanning. The only thing that when you install the game, you can click on enemy units, right? That's pretty stupid. So obviously I had to disable that I can click on enemy units. That is the only thing I ever changed in StarCraft.
I'll tell you, I mean, Sal's going to be funny for this question, but I just added rapid fire like a month ago. I never had rapid fire until a month ago.
I
So
added
it's
it
kind of the same thing.
3 weeks ago. So yeah,
What?
I'm right in your boat.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was going to be funny for
Neuro's
Sal.
losing his mind. He's like, these guys are so weird.
Oh yeah, I thought you were
Yeah.
no. That's so yeah.
No,
I
I should have had rapid fire, but then for a while I was like, it's not that different, but like it is nicer. But like it's still like it's not like I feel like it's not like I jumped up 200 MR now that I've got rapid fire. So it's like, but Sal is kind of funny for this question because he unhotkeyed. I'm gonna answer for him a little bit. I'm gonna take it a bit just because
I have many things. Like, I have multiple. I have a multitude.
So, I mean, Sal, you were on this grind about your YouTube, which has helped you, but that helped you. But you also had this goal for you to get your MMR threshold, and so when Sal was doing this, he unbound F2 because he was F2ing a lot.
Yeah.
And he must have had, and I was one of them because I had your best interest in mind, Sal. But I was like, as Terran, you really probably still should have that F2 key. And I swear to God, Sal must have probably. I mean, I don't watch Sal stream all the time, but he must have had those comments every single day. People like, you should really have F2 as Terran. Yeah. But like, it's like because like Terran should have it, but then it is tough as you make a change like that. And it did help you.
It's like a glass of wine at dinner, man. People say it's good, but a glass of wine as the only thing you can drink, not good. Like, I was using F2 as if it was the only thing. Like, and I was people don't understand. I was undoing my F2s all the time. So I'd like F2 and make my main army, and then I'd be like, shit, like I actually just grabbed like 3 drops. Like, fuck. And I had to go around unhockeying them. And then I'd do it 3 seconds later and I had to do it again. And it would be like, okay, so I'd be microing so like Liberator come in, I'd be microing my Cyclone at it, and then I'd like F2 my units like away, and then the Cyclone would turn around and go home, and then I'd send it back, and I'd spend like half the game fighting with myself because I was F2ing everything. It was like a nervous reaction to every situation was to F2. And so one day I was like, okay, this needs to stop. Like one day I lost like some big fight because half my army just turned around and like ignored where I just told it to go. And I was like, I snapped. I was like, okay, we're fixing this. Like, that's it. We're going to do something about it. But yeah, I'll get into that. You finish yours. Like, have you changed any mechanical stuff aside from the rapid fire?
Nothing major. Nothing major. I'm kind of simple like Rotti. Like I still have Immortals on I, Patrol on P.
Yeah.
I still go over there. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so core, so mine's
you're on the core, so you're like very optimized. So for me, I didn't change my hotkeys for a long time because I was so stubborn and I was convinced that I could be good anyway. Okay, that's the kind of dumb fucking guy. Like on occasion I could be the smartest dumb guy, Like I was just so determined that I could do it like my way. But I'll show you. So the first, was that I was like, when I learned, I would like hit control like with my thumb like this.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I'd
remember that
roll
looks
my
so
hand over.
unnatural.
Yeah, I'd like roll my hand over and hit control with my thumb. And like people started bullying me about it so badly. Like one day, I think it was like Jeremy in chat who like finally broke me, and I was like, okay, we're gonna fix it. So I spent like a month unlearning how to use my thumb and learning how to use like my pinky. I still am not 100% there, like, because what you don't realize that muscle memory translates to chains of actions, not just like, okay, we're gonna hit control and then two. It's like, okay, I go from like army to buildings to whatever, and like that whole chain of things are all mechanical. So going from specific actions all the way around the thing, your hand positioning is now a different spot. So I find myself every day being like, oh, I hit that a little bit easier than yesterday. Like, okay, so that's one. I used to have all my army on one hotkey. I now have 3 hotkeys. That's 2. I put camera location hotkeys like 2 years ago. I didn't have that. I now have camera location hotkey for space, which I used to have as F2. And rapid fire. But rapid fire is the biggest. Rapid fire snipe is busted. It is actually nuts. It is nuts. It's insane. Playing without rapid fire snipe is like the Ghost's a completely different unit. It's not the same. It's like playing on like 2x hard mode.
Yeah.
It's actually stupid how much better it is. I can't believe I wrote it off.
Mm-hmm.
Say a bad habit for me that I'm trying to work on, and I can do this from the VOD, is attentional management. One of the assessments that you can make as a player is, what is the most important thing that I should have my screen on at this phase of the game? What should I be doing? Because sometimes you're doing something that on paper it's a good thing to do, like taking a queen and moving it to go spread creep. That's a good thing. But doing that over spending your larva into drones, you would say is a mistake at a high level. So that's a really tricky thing where you can be doing stuff mechanically in StarCraft, but that might be driving you in the wrong direction. That's not the most optimal for your race in that matchup.
You know, Sal, what you were talking about, but undoing your F2s, mate, that was the story of my life before observer surveillance mode was a thing. Like, after every fight, every drop, I would spend 12 seconds putting my observers back, and then they all came home again. And then, like, these days, they just stay where they are, so that's kind of nice. And the mothership core, mate, half of the game for me was correcting that mothership core, going back to the main. But the final thing, what Neuro was talking about, I actually have been paying attention to something like that myself. Like, I'm not really in the mindset right now that I want to do whatever I can to get better. But I realized that I was always caring way too much on whether or not it was exactly from 16 to 12 probes. And now it should be 18. And now, like, these probes should go from here to this gas. And at one point, I'm like, what the hell am I doing, man? Just freaking drop your second Robo in your Robo Bay. That's 10 times more important. Take these freaking gases. And even if it temporarily drops from 16 to 11, fix that a little bit later. Just get the gases running ASAP and get your Robo. So I actually kind of had to unlearn trying to have the perfect numbers everywhere, because it's not that important. Getting the biggest stuff is more important. That actually took me 11 years, so I'm pretty sorry. Joe Ultra, looking at the macro level, zooming way out. Is the StarCraft ecosystem currently balanced and sustainable? Zooming way, way, way out and looking at the entire ecosystem, what would positively impact the balanced growth of StarCraft 2?
If you want to zoom completely out, the World Wildlife Federation actually listed Zergs as an endangered species on the NA ladder. So if you want to take a shot at Zerg, we're trying to get that population up so that it can kind of continue to grow. It used to be the most dominant on the NA ladder in GM. There were just so many Zergs, and it was lots of ZVZs all day. But the Protosses have been just preying upon the Zergs with these Void Ray plays.
Yeah.
True.
I
think the game is in a fairly good state. I don't think it's so imba that it's crippling and I get really upset about playing. It's exciting. Whenever I lose to Protoss, usually I have lots of mistakes of my own. So focusing on the internal factors, there's a ton of stuff that everyone can do better in their games. Like, yeah, there's the better tools meme and this kind of thing, but it is very much a game of skill, and they left it in a pretty good state.
I think Hearthstone had this take a little bit, and I concur that, like, I think big content creators like Grubby, who has like a really big stream, like kind of coming back and playing ladder and like streaming is probably, and like probably making YouTube videos about it as well, and bringing more and more creators back into SC2. Just having like bringing them is different. Like StarCraft 2 just naturally attracts people who are hyper competitive. So I think for the greater ecosystem, having creators kind of bring viewers back into SC2 I think makes a big difference. To be honest, it's probably one of the biggest things.
Did you post that game that you had on Beckett against Grubby on YouTube?
No, I should have.
Mate, out of all these YouTube videos you've made, I couldn't give it a rat's ass about. I would watch that. That was a great
Yeah.
game.
You see, the thing is, I upload games that I don't know why on that day. Like for me, when I hit the mark button on my stream deck for a game, if I'm proud of it, I hit the mark button. For whatever fucking reason, man, like even when you were in there being like so proud of me for like winning a game, I wasn't happy with it, and so I was super down on myself. For whatever reason, couldn't let myself enjoy the victory, and so I didn't hit the mark button. So it's gone. I have no fucking
Oh
clue
my goodness.
where it is.
That
It's
is
like
one of
Yeah,
one of the best RTS players of all time. You know that, right?
No, I know that, but it's like I'm telling you, like at the time, I wasn't happy with how I won, and so
Crazy.
that's all I remember. Like when I played Neuro in the streamer invitational thing. The 2 games he won were my 2 standard games, where I played my bread and butter, and to this day I still think about that. Like, why the fuck did I lose those games? But I won the other games I played off. And it like it taints the whole thing for me, like that I can't get past that. My best was not I didn't win with my best, that kind of thing. So it's like that really weird thing. That's why I didn't hit the mark button on that. That's why I didn't go on YouTube. I wasn't happy with it. I just
Chris,
wasn't.
any final words?
No, not really. I agree with everyone said.
I just agree with all of us. But
You
Well-
are your own harshest critic. I think is an interesting saying with Twitch chat going around.
I mean, the thing is, it's kind of a tough question. You know, it's like how do I think the game is zoomed out? How's it? You know, what's the best way to help? You know, I think we guys answered it all right. I mean, I think the game is obviously probably the best, almost, you know, one of the better places it could be, with considering we still have a year and a half of support, and you know, all the tournaments going around. So the macro of it is fine, at least for now.
For streamers, the support is driven grassroots from people in the chat and people who
Yeah.
donate,
Mm.
subscribe, and follow, and just are active talking in the chat. That's a big thing. So
Mhm.
for you to have the question of what can we do for StarCraft to grow, hanging out in people's streams and just talking, being pleasant, subscribing, gifting subscriptions, like the streamers have to pay rent. So we're always making that business assessment between, do I love what I'm doing? And then can I pay rent doing what I'm doing? And we
I
don't get
think-
salaried. So
Listening to all of you guys, I think the only conclusion we can really make is that MCanning needs to date Pokimane.
That's it.
I'm not
That would
complaining.
save all of us.
I'm not a complainer.
All right, moving on. Mhm.
Wait, one more question.
One more
Okay.
question. Oh, of course.
fuck.
Ravi Parikh, hi streamer. I have a question and I hope you can help me answer it. Let me know if that's okay. Also, a question for Sel. Can you do push-ups right now if I redeem it? Question mark.
The answer is no, because I'm gonna scam you just like I do every day when you redeem the points. on
Dang,
my
rolled.
channel. Yeah, I could do them, but I won't, and I won't do it because you asked.
Do you
This
guys think
brings
it's
up a
funny that
fun
people
fact
always...
about-
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
there's a fun fact about Twitch is if you do push-ups on Twitch, there are a bunch of secret push-up experts that just lurk.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Ah!
Bad form. That
And
wasn't real.
Yeah.
You would never know this until you do your own push-ups, but then
Yeah.
someone who's been a drill sergeant for 47 years is going to pop out and roast you.
Dude.
True.
It's like that with everything, man. Like it's like that
Yeah,
with
but-
everything you bring up. There is an expert, and they do know more, and they are going to let you know.
But
Like,
that's actually something that has always attracted me to streaming StarCraft, because I know that I know more than the guys
Yeah.
in the chat. But when I
Yeah.
play a different game, I might have to like take it really serious, everything they say. And like with push-up, yeah, there could be that they know something that I don't know. I
Right.
just think it's funny how I've never heard anyone say, what about the push-ups? I do 2 push-ups. That was really bad form, man. It's like, okay.
Dude.
Sure. But I think that is a nice thing about streaming a game where you know that you're in the upper echelon of players out there. And if
Yep.
somebody really knows it better, then you probably know about them, right? So that's actually something that's kind of nice about SC2.
yeah.
Do you guys think it's funny that I guess kind of what Ravi asked us? is that people always ask if they can ask a question.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah.
It doesn't really.
He's
I'm
just
whatever.
doing the classic Ravi thing.
Yeah, he is.
It's just
Of
Ravi
course.
being Ravi. You know?
True.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you, Ravi, for still being a loyal Patreon supporter of the Pylon Show. And that is going to do it, guys, for this edition of the Pylon Show. Like I said in the beginning of the show, next week there will not be a Pylon Show, not because we're lazy, but there is a literally DreamHack all week long. The week after that, I'll still be in Sweden, but we'll do our best to find something that we can do, either a very short Pylon Show, or maybe I'll just let someone else host. Maybe one of you guys. I'm kidding. It's, you know, you're not enjoying them PvPs. You
Yeah.
want to host the next Pylon Show.
Retire
That's
as
lot
a
of fun.
streamer and host the Pylon Show.
Yeah, just give
There
me a
you
stream
go.
key. I'll just start streaming all the time.
You know what? I'm not a complainer.
Pokemon's gonna think you're Rotterdam, or I'm Rotterdam all of a sudden.
Yeah.
She could be in both our DMs.
Sure, mate. Thank you guys so much for taking a lot of
We do
time
have
out
a
of your
couple birthdays.
Oh, we have birthdays.
So this is a new segment that I want to try out, Spotlight. But last week we did have birthdays of Boxer, Hydra, and Smix.
Smixy.
Oh, nice.
Happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then we got a segment that's kind of fresh here that I wanted to try out. Let me know what you guys think of this.
All right.
Looks boring.
Oh, we're doing
my
clips of the
God.
week or something like that?
This fucking guy. You don't even know that this website was created.
Are we gonna hear the clip?
This game was the foundation of Twitch, so you could watch some fucking people on hot tubs, you bitch.
I
All
don't
right,
think so.
show some respect, asshole. Show some fucking respect.
Well, you're supposed to. Hold on.
Yeah.
I have heard this clip, so I know what clip it is.
I haven't. I want to know what he says. I'm
It's
going to
very
load
nice.
up the stream. Oh, hey, look. I loaded up the stream to hear it, and I got an ad. Thanks, Twitch.
So you're not a sub?
Fuck. Yeah, I just outed myself. Let me see what we got here. I didn't want to get caught. Ah, fuck.
Let's try this again.
You just let me know when it's over. I don't want to talk over the clip for the people at home.
It does have a volume button.
Is he going?
I'm gonna assume it's working for the stream.
No, not yet.
Okay. Maybe we should save it for next week, Cobra.
You bitch. Looks boring. Oh my God. This fucking guy. You don't even know that this website was created. Oh my God. This game was the foundation of Twitch, so you could watch some fucking people on hot tubs. Bitch. All right, this game was the foundation of Twitch, so you could watch some fucking people on hot tubs. You bitch. All right, show some respect, asshole. Show some fucking respect. Yo, Sean, right? This is the fucking foundation that the hot tub was fucking built on. Looks boring.
Basically, that is a lyric showing some love to StarCraft 2 people and maybe whining on why he's playing StarCraft 2 in the first place. But then he just put them in their place. I never thought of StarCraft 2 as the foundation of the hot tub. I mean, put it like that. Doesn't sound all that bad, guys.
If this is the battlecruiser guy, what we need to do is have a bunch of secret spires. There is a rare stream cheater who doesn't play very often. What he does is he turtles on 3 bases for as long as it takes with nothing but a couple tanks and 60 bajillion missile turrets. And he'll bank up a whole bunch of BCs in the back of the main base. And then whenever you overcommit to ground, you'll teleport them onto the spire. Oh my god. I love it.
But then he didn't get the backup spire. I saw this clip actually when I was supposed to embed it, and I was laughing.
If this is the
Those
battle
are the
cruiser
little
guy,
moments that just make you day.
what we need to do.
You have another one for us, Cobra.
Oh man, are you gonna listen to the whole thing right now, or are you gonna just do part of it? This is old.
I haven't seen it.
Oh shit.
How long is it?
It's about 5-6 minutes.
Sal made it seem like it was a 30-minute video.
No, it's not that bad. It's fine.
Even 6 minutes is kind of long.
True.
Kimchi, you stand on trial, my friend, for BMing Neuro. Not really BMing Neuro, but because you said and promised that you would never disappoint me again, you would reform. And I was in Neuro's chat, chilling, having a good time. And what do I see on my screen? One angry Kimchi asking for an unban. Naturally. So, here we go. Some quick notes about this case study. All the situations are theoretical, except one. You'll know it when you see it. These are just for illustrative purposes. Okay? They're just to make a point. Alright, it's just nothing serious. Okay? None of these are real. Alright. I love that Neuro's taking notes. Kids. We're going on a bumpy ride.
Uh-oh.
No. We'll get there. He was trying to argue. Situation 1. Here we go. Neuro invites you over for a nice dinner. Maybe he's even making kimchi. Odds are you're ordering a pizza, okay? The dinner is served.
He knows
it looks
me.
delicious. But before you can eat, Neuro wants to say grace. In this example, he's a devout Catholic, but you are a devout atheist. Do you sit quietly, hands together, and be thankful for the delicious food in front of you, despite not believing in a deity? Have a conversation about how you are uncomfortable saying grace, and perhaps have a debate about theism. Ultimately, you choose to either leave or accept the terms of the house and sit through grace. Okay. Get angry that anyone would suggest one should be thankful for food. Call everyone at the table a Nazi and get kicked out. Proceed to stand outside begging to come back in because it's cold. But still unapologetically shit on all the dinner guests.
Oh my god.
Now, 2 of these are acceptable behavior.
Well,
One of them will disappoint me thoroughly. Okay? Let's see, in this theoretical example, which ones are acceptable and which one will make me upset.
No.
Oh, wow. This is just theoretical. By the way, fictitious. Not real. Situation 1. Okay? Alright, situation 2. Neuro invites you over for coffee. Neuro has a small kid, so swearing isn't allowed. This is problematic because your lexicon consists of 5 words. Fuck, ass, hello, bitch, and asshat. Do you use the only word in your lexicon that isn't a swear word? Have a conversation about how your parents swore, but you only turned out a little fucked up, choosing to leave if you can't come to some kind of compromise. Get angry Neuro had the audacity to have a child, and even worse, raise him better than you. You get thrown out because Neuro thinks you're a danger to his kid, and you stand outside begging to come back in, but threatening to throw the kid out because he's killing your vibe. Which ones are acceptable?
Oh my god.
To no surprise, number 3, again, unacceptable. Situation number the 3rd. All right. Notice we're no longer at a house.
I love
Here we
houses,
go.
though.
Neuro is a successful Twitch streamer. Neuro had a close friend whom he loved very much, but they committed suicide. For this reason, you specifically cannot tell people to kill themselves in his chat. Do you? Chill casually, not telling anyone to kill themselves. Talk about how you don't really mean someone should off themselves. It's a figure of speech. You realize this is Neuro's house, though, and you choose to either not use the phrase or leave. Get angry, because you can't say what you want in someone else's channel. Fuck the rules. Then get upset, because you are banned for not following the clear rules, calling all the moderators of the channels Nazis. Then you bother Neuro continuously to be unbanned, but are unapologetic and refuse to say sorry. I'm gonna have to go with acceptable, and no. All right. And for these reasons, in this particular slide, the non-fictitious slide, you are banned on every account until you apologize. He still hasn't. Starting with Angry Kimchi.
I'm glad that he gets a
There you
little
go.
icon.
Thank you all for this beautiful presentation. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Wow. That's incredible.
Thank you, Sal.
That is a good video, mate. Well
Dude.
done.
Yeah, I was saying in the
I feel
pre-show,
better. I feel like I don't
He
even
was
need
like
an apology.
he was
I
like
feel
a
I got-
regular. So when this whole thing happened, like I was pretty tilted. So I was like stewing about what I was gonna do about it, and I was like, all right, we're gonna make a PowerPoint. That's what we're gonna do.
You know, this is maybe not related, and we were gonna wrap it up. But have you guys been ever in this uncomfortable moment where you've seen someone in your chat for a long time, and you're like, oh yeah, pretty alright dude or chick, doesn't really matter, whoever it is. And then you're just casually lurking a different stream, and then the same guy that's like quite alright in your eyes is like, well, fuck you, ho. And I'm like, whoa, whoa. Like, it actually made me feel so weird because I'm like, do I just like snap ban him now in my own channel? I mean, maybe I do. Like, maybe there's a story here. Like, actually, it's really freaking awkward when it happens. Have you guys ever had any moment like that?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's called the oh shit dad's home situation. Which is when they're being monitored by someone who they consider to be a figure they respect or some authority, they'll be very well behaved. But whenever dad's gone, they'll just make a mess of the place and have a party and do whatever the heck they want. So I would say
Yeah.
that's probably a similar situation where in Rotti's chat, well, yeah, he's the boss and they like his content and all this. But if I'm in some other chat, I can like talk some mad shit and hopefully he doesn't know.
Yeah, it's like it happens to me like once a week. Yeah, once a week, someone will come in and be like, "Hey, streamer, how's it going? Stream looks great. You look great. Gameplay is great." And then slowly falling and be like, "Yo, so why the fuck did you say this cringe ass crazy shit in this chat the other day? Like, you're such like why would you even say that?" And I'm like, "Wait, what did they say?" And then she links me the chat log. And I'm like, "Bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, how can you say this shit?" And they're like, "I didn't know I couldn't do that." Like, that's like their response. Like, oh
And that's
shit,
it.
like,
And that's when you make another video.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is that like some streams are weird. They're like a lot of people relate my stream to like the bar at the end of the night, where like everyone's kind of going to my stream, and they're like,
I love that.
and they're like, you know, they're not on their best behavior, but they're all like, everyone gives each other a little bit of a pass to just. And I'm kind of sitting there like the bar owner. Like, if I threw out all the degenerates, I wouldn't have a bar. You know, I'd have an empty room with alcohol in it, and that's a drinking problem. Like, that's not a bar. So like, I'm just sitting there like, like it's got to be some pretty bad shit. But you know, on occasion, you get a Twitch chatter who's like, "Yeah, I said that." And I'm like, "Are you okay with saying that?" And they're like, "Uh-oh. Streamers noticed that I said something really stupid." Yeah, I'll take them down the line of logic and I'll force them to admit that, like, yeah, this is pretty dumb. Like, and then everyone makes a command about them with my bot, so you can always remind them about their shame. And
That's a good
that's
move.
like, yeah, it happens. Like at least like once a week. What do you think, Jeremy? Like once every 2 weeks, once a week, somebody comes in and they're just like, yeah, that exact situation plays out.
I just love the idea of Cell Stream being that bar at the end of the night. It's like nothing else is open, guys. At least they've got liquor, you know. Like at least we can whine about Protoss over here. Let's go. That's great.
Yeah,
All right.
sometimes I wake up like on the wrong side of the bed. I'm like, why is this my life? Like I could have been anything else. I could have been anything else.
That's
Oh
really
my
funny.
god.
It's really funny. Chris, any final words?
I mean, sometimes I'll see stuff like, because especially when I'm competing, people are like, God, I'm canning so bad. Of course he's gonna lose this. It's like people especially in the ESL chat, are so mean to the players always.
Mhm.
It's actually brutal.
I guess it's too. They're mean to everyone, mate.
Right. But it's like, it's like sometimes like I'm playing and like I get crushed. Like I know my parents are watching, reading the chat, and like the chat's just shitting on me. And it's like, oh, because the chat's pretty brutal. But like I do a lot of times, like I'll see people like not even directed at me. Like I'll see someone acting up in another chat, and I will remember their name. Like just like I just can remember what they've said, and like they'll show up in my chat, and I'll be like, you said this thing. Like I remember there was a tweet DJ posted a while back about like some guy was like MaxPax couldn't beat anyone. He would get 3-0'd by all the Koreans, and then like on the Lake Yulak, it was him beating a bunch of Koreans, and I was like, there was a tweet made about you. I pulled up the tweet. So it's fun, when Twitch chat gets out of line, you got to wrangle them back sometimes.
I actually just read my favorite quote recently on stream that pertains to this kind of situation. It's from a president of the U.S., Theodore Roosevelt. Can I read it real quick? It's like a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
It's called The Man in the Arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who actually strives to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. That's like a roast of the backseat if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
Lovely. MCanning, now that you pointed out when you're a player, I've noticed this a couple of times where if I play against one of the big boys in Europe and they're streaming too, and if I win, I'm obviously going to go into their VOD and see what they say. A little while ago, I see like this dude, like Showtime queues up a game against me. It's like, lol, Rotterdam. He's going to build Phoenixes and get wrecked. And then like even 11 minutes in, there's no way you're losing this. Rotterdam has no chance against you. Then like I did win that game. It was one of the finest games I've played in a year. Showtime was obviously very confused about what I was doing, but I need a bit of luck. Next day, the guy comes to my chat. Hey, Rotti, great game against Showtime, man. I'm like, what? Get out of here, man. Get out of here, you son of a gun.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a classic.
All right, guys, I've had you here for over 3 hours. This was a really fun episode, if you ask me. I really enjoyed chatting with you guys. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your Saturday. Let's go ahead and do some final shout-outs and let the people at home know what's on the agenda for you and where they can find you. Sal, why don't you kick things off first? Where's that bar at the end of the night?
You can catch me at twitch.tv/UpATreeZelda, where I lose on ladder to Void Race, and I try really hard not to get upset about it. That's it. That's my life. That's what I do. Oh yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and stuff. Yep. See Season 1 Rank Roulette runner-up. That's my highest achievement of all time. I'm coming for Loco this time, hopefully.
Probably not. We saw you did.
Yeah, well, yeah, you did pretty good too, right? I think I'm still in the top 4.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know who advances, but yeah, I did good.
I think it's top 4.
I did really bad.
Yeah, I know. I was very grateful. Thanks for that. Thanks for sandbagging that. I appreciate it very much.
I decided to let all of you guys look good for once.
Oh yeah, me and Cobra Venom do a podcast. By the way, we talk about tech and stuff. So if you care about tech, you can follow this, and we post the podcast basically on like all the different platforms: Spotify, YouTube, all the stuff.
Elgato recently came out with like 17 new products at once, eh?
Yeah. A lot of stuff. Most of it is like just below like what I already own. But like if I were on the up and up, I would have been really into a lot of the stuff that they've made. Like, because it's high quality stuff, and it's like, not diminishing returns kind of after as well. It's like quite good, quite affordable. Like they've done a good job. Elgato's just really sick. I like them a lot.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much, Sal, for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Next up, MCanning. What's on the agenda, my friend?
Had a bit of a down August, but my goal is to be good this month and stream quite a bit on Twitch TV/MCanning. It is September after all. So it's kind of like the streamer's Christmas. You gotta go ham in September. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna try to bring in some good streams, good vibes. Mostly laddering, just hanging out. We have good time on my stream, and twitter.com/MCanningSC, I suppose. But yeah, it's fun being here, fun talking to the boys, and it's fun being on the Pylon show. It's my first one with Rotti as the host, so it's the butterflies were here this morning, but I settled in once the show started.
Got it. That is right. You hear that, Sal? It's September. Subs are cheap. Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm joking, mate.
Okay,
I'm joking.
20% off, resubscribe. Let's just lead by example here.
I'm teasing you, Sal. You don't have to.
Oh, it worked. There you go. Feel good about yourself?
I don't even
Jesus
have the
Christ,
chat
buddy.
open, but
All right, there
I
you
saw
go.
you move. I saw the move, and that's the move of a man that sits down and is ready to subscribe to a channel. I saw him opening. I didn't mean to do it. All right, I'll stop by
Monthly
later.
subscription right here. All right, done. There you go.
Sal, I'll make it
Fine.
up to you. I'll make it up to you, I promise.
That's okay.
Last but not least, Neuro, thank you so much for joining us, of course, today too. What's on the agenda for you, my friend?
Yeah, fantastic being on. Shout out to you for picking up the mantle of the Pylon show. It's a big thing for you to carry. You've been a pillar of the StarCraft scene for a long time, but you do an awesome job with hosting this. It's kind of like wrangling cats a little bit, where you ask a question, then we go way off on a tangent, and you have to bring it back to whatever the next docking point was. But I stream
the
it.
best shows, though. Those are the
Yeah.
best shows.
Twitch.tv/Neuro. I do a mixture of Zerg ladder. I do some D&D on Thursdays with Cobra Venom helping out. Pig is one of our players. Apoptosis is our dungeon master. And we have Ash from Cockeyed Gaming as well. Our season 2 just got started. On Sundays, I talk news and politics pretty often. Saturdays, I'm usually doing Neuro Dojo, where viewers can fight each other, and I just cast the matches for that.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, been rocking a lot of variety in the YouTube content. We just have that immunology update on the COVID situation, the pandemic, and all that. I have an immunology PhD guy who came on. The Wayfarers episode is up, and then lots of different StarCraft guides and material, and as well as tanking guides for Burning Crusade Classic. But yep, I'm enjoying streaming and making content. Come say hi sometime.
Absolutely will. Thank you guys so much. This really was my favorite episode since I stepped up and started hosting. You guys are all really funny and bounce off each other very well. It was awesome to talk to you guys. If you guys at home enjoyed the Pylon show, make sure to go ahead and take a look at that Patreon. If you got some extra dollars laying around, make sure that it's worth Cobra's, my time, and everybody else, so we can just keep doing what we are doing, because I do think it's important that we keep this thing around, so you guys can hear and see a little more of your favorite community figures in a different setting, different environment. That's going to be it for me this week. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 140. But the final words will be to the man that's been bouncing all over the East Coast and still somehow making this happen, even though he barely has working internet. Actually, big shout out, of course, to our big Patreon supporters. Maker Shane, Cody Furious 87, and Kata. Hey, we got a second $50 donation because it was just Binker at first. The big shout out to Thomas for joining the $50 crew. I really appreciate it, guys. And of course, much love to everyone else. But the final words will be going to the man who's making this all happen from a Motel 69 somewhere in South Carolina, stealing their Wi-Fi. Cobra, take it away.
Thank you very much, everybody. No show next week. Podcasts will be a little bit late. Still working on ASL next episodes. Thank you. That's about it. Love you all.